City Hall. This will be a meeting of the Los Angeles City Council. There are two members present. Thank you, Ms. Misikowski. We need 10 for a quorum. Mr. Lamb, Mr. Perry, Mr. Reyes, Mr. Thomas, Mr. West, Mr. White, Mr. Building. Please take the way to council chamber. Good morning, everybody. We're almost ready to call this meeting to order. Welcome again to City Hall and to a meeting of the Los Angeles City Council. We have 8 members present. We need 10 for a quorum. As is customary on Fridays, we have a series of presentations and resolutions scheduled for today. But before we begin with the business of the meeting, I'd ask for everyone to please rise and if we can request Cynthia Theas Hertzberg to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. The chair recognizes Mr. Pacheco for a presentation.
Good morning, Mr. President, colleagues. I'd like to start off by bringing up some of our young men and women who participate in the Aztec Fire Crew. The Aztec Fire Crew is an innovative education and employment development system. So come on up. It works with at-risk youth and adults within the Los Angeles area, and it gives them an opportunity to work while learning about their environment, gaining meaningful employment skills, and obviously encouraging them to return to school. It's committed to providing comprehensive physical and classroom training in fire suppression techniques, trail maintenance, brush clearance, hazard reduction, plant and wildlife preservation, and of course, protection of the ecosystem. They have helped to fight fires in California, Oregon, Washington, Utah, Colorado, Montana, New Mexico, Nevada, and Arizona. When they're not doing their firefighting assignments, the program is active in neighborhood beautification through brush clearance, hazard reduction, tree planting, graffiti removal, environmental education, gang intervention, member recruitment, peace containment, and community mobilization. The program is partnered with several agencies, including the U.S. Forest Services in both the training and job assignments, the South Central Highlanders, the LA Community Development Department, the LA Conservation Corps, and the Los Angeles Department of Recreation and Parks. We are going to be handing certificates of appreciations to all these individuals for their citizenship and their activities to enhance the Los Angeles community and improving on the community in terms of the visual and hazard reduction. The participants are awarded the certificate for their exemplary efforts and accomplishments which have been of great value to the community and to the city of Los Angeles, and which have helped to further the common goal of making our city a better place in which to live. I would like to also recognize, before I get to the young men, some other individuals who believed in them. These individuals are being recognized for their meritorious acts and service which have contributed to the attainment of the highest standards in community service through their participation as padrino or padrina and as an active fire crew member in the United States Forest Service. I'm not sure if he's here. Steve Robles, United States Forest Service Captain, and Don Freezer, United States Forest Service also. So let's give a round of applause for them. I also want to recognize Enrique Hurtado for being the Aztec Fire Crew Executive Director and Trainer for this great crew. So now let me present to you individually the members who have worked so hard to be a part of our community and at the same time improve on their own lives and of course be an inspiration to other youth and at-risk individuals who can see that working in collaboration as a team, they can change their lives and really give something back. So let me first give this certificate of appreciation to the Executive Director, Enrique Hurtado, on behalf of the City of Los Angeles, my office. Thank you so much for working with the crew and making this such a successful program here in the City of Los Angeles.
So good.
In consideration of everyone's time and appointments, I just want to give a big round of applause for the whole crew. We're going to give them their certificates of appreciation in the press room, and we'll take photos there. But Mr. President and colleagues, did you want to say something?
No, but Mr. Reyes does.
Okay. Before we move on, Mr. Reyes,
Council President, members of the council, I just want to say that I truly appreciate recognizing Senor Hurtado and the crew for all the work they do. In a time where I've had 5 homicides in Lincoln Heights in the past 2 months, I've had killings in Northeast. Our ability to support a program like this is paramount. It is a priority. If we're truly going to be putting our money where our mouth is, we need to support groups like the Aztec firefighters to give our youth a chance. So I want to thank you again and thank you for this opportunity.
Mr. President, let me present to you Enrique Hurtado and Don Freezer. They say a few words about the program.
Yes, good morning. There's been like 6 years that we've been here in the City Council chambers receiving awards. Just last year, this year, the Forest Service is going to give us 150 certifications. In the past, our staff, like in nights, weekends, we're out there training the guys to pass the test, get them in physical condition, to go with the Forest Service and provide good work, cutting brush, doing fires and emergencies. Monies are always going to help. Our staff have been running this program out of their pockets. So we're here again to see if the council members could support. It's not just one district that we service. We service all the districts in Los Angeles. So that will be really appreciated from the council if we could receive some kind of seed monies to keep this program going. Last year we were going to lose the program, but we kept it alive. So I just want to thank Public Health Foundation, Michael Lee, Stack, Laura Nevarez, for supporting this program. They're our fiscal agency, and also the Forest Service, Don Facer, Jim Hall, and the Forest Supervisor, and Steve Robles for believing in us. So I just want to let Don Facer speak a little bit on the program. Thank you.
Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity just to say a few words. I'm Don Fazer. I'm Chief of Fire and Aviation Management on the Angeles National Forest. We've been very proud and pleased with the contributions of the Aztec program. We are here to support the program 100%, and I think it's a very good partnership between the federal government, local government, and also the private sector in this community. And it is our tie to Los Angeles, the city, and also the inhabitants of the city. So I just want to say again that I appreciate the opportunity. It's an outstanding program, and we want to continue to support it. Thank you.
Also, I forgot, the Family Center Manager, Ossie Lopez, had been, for the last 4 years, been supporting us a lot, so I would really want to thank him. And I'm going to have one of the crew members that got employed with the Forest Service now and has a career going, Andres Gonzalez.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Andres Gonzalez. I'm a wildland firefighter out of the Angeles National Forest. When I graduated from high school in '96, I was afraid to go on my own. I was afraid because I was unprepared for what the world had in store for me. For a long time, I found myself going from job to job, getting nowhere, trying to find something that I would actually enjoy doing. It wasn't until the year 2000 that I was introduced to the Aztec Fire Crew, where I had a chance to meet a lot of different people who I later became friends with. The Aztec Fire Crew became an important part of my life. Because this organization was able to give me a chance in participating with them, they have helped create for me a new path, a new direction that I may follow. I'm currently a very excited employee of the United States Forest Service thanks to this crew. I feel that I'm a good example of what can become a former member of this organization, who can later come back to teach new recruits and pass on the knowledge that they need for a better tomorrow. Although my job is away from my friends, I have not given up on them. I continue to support them on their assignments or even when they're just training at home. I feel that in order to complete your goal, you must work hard at it and continue to fight through all the pain and hardship that comes to us as a part of life. If everyone were to take a moment and think back on the very first job and realize that you too have had your share of good and bad times, and know that it's not easy. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot from your family, friends, but no matter what it takes, you were committed and you conquered your dream of becoming the person you are today. Thank you.
Now I'm just going to have Iris Monge. This is her first year with the Aztec crew. We also have females. Last year we had 2 females picked up with the Forest Service, and now they have a good career with the Forest Service in the Angeles Crest. Iris Monge.
Hello and good morning, members of the council and Nick Pacheco. My name is Iris Monge. On behalf of the Aztec Fire Crew, I'd like to take advantage of this opportunity to explain to you what it is that we do and how we must be physically, mentally, and emotionally prepared for the dangerous roles in fighting wildfires. When the call is given to us at the next morning, we must be at our station. We not only have to have our equipment ready to go, but we must be in top physical shape. This includes the responsibility of each individual here maintains a peak conditioning throughout the season, going out for 3 to 6 mile runs and hiking every day. Believe it or not, our lives do depend on our physical shape. 2 important things: we have ourselves mentally and emotionally prepared. Being mentally prepared will help us accept the fact that we will be hiking up mountains with heavy gear on, which for me is half my weight. And in doing so, knowing that it will be a painful task. At the end of our shift, all the fatigue and pain goes away because you then have the satisfaction looking back at a white cloud of smoke, saying to yourself, we all helped stop the spread of this fire, help save the lives of the endangered wildlife, and help save the homes of people who live out there. The 4 firefighters in Washington State earlier this year and the 350 firefighters in New York City 2 weeks ago reminded us all of how very dangerous our jobs really are. Which brings me to how we must be emotionally prepared to leave our friends and family with a chance that might not be coming home. I have the misfortune of leaving my family, but I am blessed to be with another. That is hard for me. I'm usually surrounded by my sisters, aunts, girlfriends, and my grandmother, and to leave them for 2 or 3 weeks is very hard for me. I'm the only woman going out with the crew this year, but working with such a great group of guys, I wanted a big brother, and so I have 18 of them now. I am overwhelmed at the thought that they see me as their little sister also. They took good care of me when I'm out there on assignment, and I watch for them as they do for me. We all love each other, respect and care for one another like a real family does. Thank you for allowing me to share my thoughts on the crew.
Mr. President, colleagues, thank you. Obviously, the Aztec Fire Crew is a great asset to us here in the city of Los Angeles. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Pacheco. The chair recognizes next Mr. Reyes for a presentation.
Members of the council, I wanted to make a brief introduction of some very special dignitaries that we have visiting us this morning. They are a delegation of mayors from the cities of El Salvador who together belong to an organization called Comudes. El Salvador itself has 262 cities. This organization dedicates itself to promoting the development of the cities of El Salvador. It has a membership of 262 persons, each of whom represents the cities that comprise the country of El Salvador. As we all remember, earlier this year, El Salvador was hit with some rather devastating earthquakes. Since that time, this organization has taken a lead role in helping the reconstruction of their country. They have been here since Wednesday in hopes of securing additional aid from various sources, including the city of Los Angeles, for an effort that, quite frankly, has been struggling. I have asked the president of the organization, Mr. Oscar Samuel Ortiz Asensio, to address the council. But before I do this, before I turn the microphone over to him, I also want to introduce to you his colleagues and counterparts, and they are Jose Gabriel Murillo Duarte, Mayor of Texitepeque, Abraham Lopez Dabod, Mayor of Tapalhuaca, and Efren Ponce Celiandia, Mayor of Conchagua. Let me introduce to you now Mr. Oscar Samuel Ortiz Asensio.
Muchas gracias. Muy buenos días, apreciables miembros del concilio, estimados invitados en esta casa de la ciudad. Es para nosotros un honor, como alcaldes representativos de los 200 municipios de El Salvador, de nuestro país, estar aquí en este lugar. Agradecer al concejal Reyes, al concejal Pacheco, agradecer a todos ustedes por la enorme solidaridad mostrada después de nuestra tragedia ocurrida por los terremotos del día 13 de enero y 13 de febrero, en el cual miles y miles de personas salieron afectadas. Quisiera aprovechar esta oportunidad desde lo más profundo de nuestro corazón para también, a nombre de todos nuestros municipios, mostrar la solidaridad con todo el pueblo estadounidense, sobre todo por los actos repudiables del día 11 de septiembre que afectaron a miles de personas. Ya nosotros en otra dimensión sabemos lo que es vivir una situación de este tipo, lo pasamos precisamente con los eventos de los terremotos ocurridos en nuestro país y en estos momentos estamos en un proceso de reconstrucción. Sabemos que de un desastre de este tipo, la mejor opción es escoger la oportunidad para poder optar por condiciones mejores. Así, los alcaldes de nuestro país estamos en ese esfuerzo, reconstruyendo nuestras ciudades, reconstruyendo nuestro país, haciendo un esfuerzo por desarrollar las viviendas permanentes de nuestros ciudadanos, por tratar de llevar trabajos que le generen mayor seguridad en ese entorno y sobre todo, seguimos trabajando de manera unida para tratar de enfrentar de mejor manera una situación que no es fácil, pero tampoco imposible de superar. En esta mañana queremos aprovechar para agradecer toda la enorme solidaridad mostrada por los ciudadanos de Los Ángeles, la solidaridad mostrada por el Consejo de Los Ángeles, que se hicieron presentes en un momento vital de nuestra situación en la ciudad de San Salvador, en Santa Tecla y en otros municipios. Y quisiéramos esta mañana también decirles que les agradecemos por esta oficialización de la ayuda que vamos a recibir esta mañana. Esperamos que podamos seguir contando con ustedes y creo que en el futuro nuestro interés es seguir fortaleciendo las relaciones entre ambas ciudades, en este caso Los Ángeles, también con los distintos municipios que representamos a nivel de El Salvador. Muchas gracias por esta oportunidad y nuevamente reiterar nuestro gesto de solidaridad por todo lo que ha ocurrido en este gran país. Muchas gracias.
I will try to translate. Good morning, members of the City Council of Los Angeles. I am Oscar Ortiz, and I'm here from representing Comures, which is the Corporation of Municipalities of El Salvador. We would like to thank Councilmember Reyes because of the opportunity to speak on this moment. And we also like to thank the City of Los Angeles and all his council members because for the tremendous support we have received during the earthquakes that hit El Salvador on January 13 and February of this year. At the same time, we would like to offer our condolences and also our support for the terrorist attack that occurred on September 11. We condemn that kind of actions of terrorism, not only here but everywhere. And we know how you feel because we have been in the same situation during the war in El Salvador. Also, I would like to thank Councilmember Nick Pacheco for his support. He went to El Salvador and he saw the situation over there and the tremendous help that the city of Los Angeles is giving us with the 7 vehicles that are going to El Salvador sometime soon. Thank you very much, and from our hearts, our solidarity from the people of El Salvador.
I'd like to also invite our colleague, Councilman Pacheco, for a special presentation.
Mr. President, right after the earthquake in El Salvador, your office, my office, and Councilmember Hernandez's office worked on trying to acquire any surplus vehicles for the reconstruction of El Salvador. And we were able to obtain 7 vehicles for the reconstruction of El Salvador. And at this point, we have worked out all the details in terms of the transfer of title and ownership. And in 2 years, Asosal will be giving us a report in regards to what our contribution has done to rebuild El Salvador. So at this juncture, I just wanted to, in a symbolic gesture, just hand a copy of the contract to Carlos Ardon, who's representing Asosal, which stands for the Association of Salvadorians in Los Angeles. So I just wanted to give that to Carlos Ardon on behalf of the city of Los Angeles.
Thank you very much for your support.
I felt it was important for Mr. Ortiz Asensio to address you directly, because he can tell you firsthand what it was like to preside over a city where more than 1,000 people were killed as a result of landslides following the earthquake. I'd like to thank you for your time, and I would like to present a certificate of welcome to each one of our visitors now. Efraín Ponce. Gracias. José Gabriel Murillo Duarte. Carlos Roberto Punto. Abraham Lopez Labod. Oscar Samuel Ortiz. Thank you, Council.
Thank you, Mr. Reyes. The chair recognizes Mr. Zine for a presentation.
Thank you, Mr. President, colleagues. It is an honor for me, as physically fit as I am, to recognize some people who are incredibly physically fit. And today we are joined by 2 winners in the Los Angeles Triathlon, which recently took place in our city. And joining me today, Jack Caress, event chairman of the City of LA Triathlon, and Mike Bone, event director, City of LA Triathlon, the 2 gentlemen behind me. Now, we have 2 athletes that won in the competition. There were 2,680 participants in this triathlon. While we have an LA Marathon, which is running, jogging, triathlon includes 9/10 mile swim in the Pacific Ocean, 6.2 mile run, and bicycle for 24 miles. And that's what the triathlon includes. The winners that we have today represent the male and female category winners. The male winner, James Duff, a Los Angeles County lifeguard. He's the top overall male age group champion in the 2nd annual Jamba Juice City of Los Angeles Triathlon, 1 hour, 55 minutes, and 1 second. And we have Amanda Vidito of Chino Hills, who works for the Big Brothers and Sisters in Orange County, the top overall female age group champion, 2 hours, 9 minutes, and 1 second. We want to congratulate you. Now, I was at the start at the beach, Washington Boulevard, and the ocean where the event started, along with Councilman Nate Holden. And then, unlike Councilman Nate Holden, I went the entire route from the Pacific Ocean to Alvaro Street, where they had the ceremonies. Now, I drove in my car, but I did do the entire route. And I'd like to also recognize that next September, they don't have a specific date at this time, we will then enjoin the 3rd annual Jamba Juice City of Los Angeles Triathlon, another wonderful event where we can bring out our tremendous athletes. And I'll give you the microphone first for the presenters, Jack, the chairman, and then Mike, and then we'll hear from the recipients.
Thank you very much. It's a great honor to be here in front of the City Council, because without your support, this event would never have taken place. As you know, some 5 years ago, we started this process of trying to put on a triathlon in the city of Los Angeles. It took us about 3.5 years, and thanks to you, we were able to do it. And in 2 short years, we've now become the 3rd largest triathlon in the world. And we're excited about that because it's now an Olympic sport, and we're hopeful. We're part of the 2012 bid for Los Angeles, and we have brought some of the best athletes from over 50 countries to this great event. And our plans for the future are to make it not only a bigger triathlon, but the best triathlon in the world. And even bigger than that, in Councilman Padilla's district this year, we did our first ever City of Los Angeles Youth Triathlon at Hanson Dam. And we plan next year to do at least 2 or 3 of those in other council districts. It's something that all the kids do every day anyway. They swim, bike, and run, and we want to combine that into an event. So we're looking at some other venues to do that for next year. Thank you very much, and we look forward to a long future with the City of Los Angeles Triathlon. And at this time, we want to present one of the things that it's become a tradition in a short while is, as you can see, we're very proud of the City of Los Angeles seal, but we do a poster each year, and we have all of the professional triathletes sign it from that come from around the world, and we'd like to present this. We'll have one for each of the city council members, but this one will be for Councilman Dennis Zine. On behalf of the organizers, myself and Mike, we'd like to present this to him. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mike, and thank you very much for that. James, come on up and say a few words. You are obviously physically fit, and unlike Nate Holden and myself, which we could watch this on television and probably participate many years ago, right, Councilman?
Speak for yourself.
All right, well, I'll challenge you to next year's event then. There you go.
There is a relay.
There is a relay.
I just want to say the race was great. The race director was great. The City of Los Angeles did a great job of helping out, shutting down all the streets, getting everything ready for us. I'm looking forward to next year's race, and I'll be right next to you, I guess, swimming, biking, and running. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, Cliff Ruff here says he'd make a great police recruit. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Amanda, and we have a presentation for you also, and a few words from you.
Thank you very much, and I just want to say again, it was a great event, and thank you to the City of Los Angeles and for the LAPD that shut down all the streets. That's amazing in a triathlon to have Venice Boulevard shut down for all of us. It was great. And I owe the City of Los Angeles Triathlon from last year, that was my first triathlon ever, and it was such an incredible race, and I loved it. I got hooked into triathlon, so here I am the second year and feel very blessed to be here. So thank you very much.
Congratulations. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councilmember Zine. The chair would now like to recognize Councilmember Galanter. Is Councilmember Galanter ready? Okay.
Members of the council, it's my very great pleasure to welcome to our chambers today two pilots who have just completed, by arriving in Los Angeles, have just completed a mission called the Liberty Journey. Their names are Brian King and Brian Neal. They're both from the Boston area, and they have flown by private plane all the way across the country to commemorate the people who were lost in the last few weeks, and particularly to remind us that that pilots do a really important job. They are here because this was the last part of the flight plan. They have completed the flight plan, and they will explain to you what they're doing. The Liberty Journey is not going to be a one-time operation, but this is something that I think deserves our recognition, and I wanted to take the opportunity, along with the mayor's office, to welcome these gentlemen and thank them for coming. So let me introduce to you the Liberty Journey journeyers, pilots Brian King and Brian Neal.
Councilperson Galanter, thank you very much for welcoming us. That was very nice and eloquently spoken. This flight was symbolically completed to close the flight plan for all of the pilots, flight crews, and passengers that had an intended destination of Los Angeles that tragic day. This is also in honor of all of the victims of the World Trade Center tragedy. We chose to fly by general aviation private plane to highlight the wonderful aviation system we have in the United States and how effective it is, and that it still is viable and very, very important to this country. In addition, we wanted to reach out from the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific Ocean and perhaps join the nation together. This flight is symbolic of bringing people together, moving forward, remembering and honoring the people appropriately. And in that vein, we would like to present a $1,000 scholarship to the City of Los Angeles to hopefully be used for an aviation scholarship for one of the high school students here in the City of Los Angeles. Thank you very much.
I think, as Brian just said, we're just both really happy to be here, and as so many groups as well as individuals have done since the tragic events on September 11th. This is just our way of contributing back and honoring those people from the September 11th events, and we're honored to be here. Thank you.
So to thank you for your journey and for the contribution, which we will add to our previous action encouraging the Community College District to look into starting a program to train air traffic controllers, I'd like to present you with a certificate of appreciation to the Liberty Journey in recognition of the work that you're doing and the work that you've already done.
Thank you very much.
Yes, hold on, we have a website.
I'm sorry, I forgot to mention, if you'd like to find out more about Liberty Journey, you can visit our website at libertyjourney.org. It's a privately funded project. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Galanter. The chair would now like to recognize Council President Alex Padilla.
Thank you, Madam Chair, colleagues, and good morning to all the members of the public who have joined us here today for a somewhat sad but special recognition of one of the great citizens of Los Angeles today and throughout the history of the city. We're going to have, for the next hour, I would imagine, a number of speeches and tributes and messages that we want to convey, but I think Mr. Wax would be the first in agreeing that we should hear from the community first. And there's a number of representatives from his district that wish to come and speak and make special presentations. Colleagues, today we're not going to say goodbye. We're not going to say goodbye. We're going to say good luck and see you later in our own special way. But I'd like to begin the tributes to Councilmember Wax by calling forward our great friends from the state legislature, Mr. Paul Koretz, member of the Assembly.
If I could also have Tony Cardin has joined me, also representing the state legislature. It's an honor for me to represent the state in honoring Joel Wax, and I almost don't know what to say because I've been a friend and supporter of Joel's for almost 30 years. I worked in his first mayoral campaign, which some of you may remember, in 1973, and I actually remember how thrilled I was. On April 3rd, 1973, I turned 18, and I got to be just old enough to cast my first vote for Joel, and my first vote. And my wife also worked on his staff for 10 years, and she's here, my wife Gail, and my daughter Rachel grew up thinking of Joel as Uncle Joel. And he's someone who has had a career that very few have matched in terms of community service. He's done so much in his 30 years on the council. And he's also had a career of sometimes doing the impossible, doing things like stopping the state's program of malathion spraying, which I don't think anyone thought was a possibility, getting the city off the hook for the cost of the Staples Center, and so many things like that. And he's really been a role model for me growing up and going into politics, and part of why I run for office and became a council member in my own city of West Hollywood was sort of following the role that I think he really set for me. And I always knew when Joel finally left politics that he'd wind up doing something significant in the arts. So I wasn't a bit surprised when I heard the announcement of his new position. LA's loss is New York's gain, and New York could use a few gains right now, and that's certainly one. I'll look forward to visiting him in New York in his new position. We all wish him well, and my congratulations on a terrific career and a great new job.
Can you present right after I speak? Can you present that right after I speak? Okay. Good morning. Congratulations to the City Council of Los Angeles for having such a fine individual who has been a voice, sometimes a lone voice, for the entire city, and someone who has demonstrated and given example to people who follow into public office. All of those who have been elected, we're all different. Some people said when I ran 6 years ago that a kid named Tony Cardenas from Pacoima couldn't make it. But then again, when we have examples of people who know that when the odds are tough, you can make it, Joel Wax is certainly one of those individuals who have demonstrated that, not for 1 year, not for 1 month, not for one meeting, but for decades. Very few people in today's environment are going to be able to hold office and endure that kind of record as Joel Wax has proven. We could only hope that those of us who have been given the opportunity to be public servants can stand the test and look back over so many years of service and say, we were consistent. We did it the way the community wanted us to do it, and we're someone of integrity and someone who holds the community first. I wouldn't miss today for the world. Joel, as Councilman Padilla said, we're not going to say goodbye. We'll say we'll see you later. I'm sure we'll be reading about you, and I'm sure we'll be seeing more of you. It's sad to see you leave. You've got big shoes or big boots to fill, or whatever it is your preference is. And I hope and pray Los Angeles gives us someone who can measure up to your stature, your consistency, and someone who believes in this city as much as you do. Joel, God bless you. Thank you from all of us in Los Angeles. Thank you from Sacramento. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you to both our Assembly members.
And as they make their way over to present to Joel what I believe is a resolution from the state of California, I want to recognize, obviously, Councilmember Joel Wax is known not only for his leadership in government, but his leadership and passion for the arts. The next presenters I'd like to call forward are representatives from the Regional Arts Council, Mary Garcia, Nancy Biancani, and Susan Craig.
It takes a special vision to be able to see something as plain as a gourd and make it a work of art. Joel has that vision and has always looked upon the city as an artwork. I don't believe we would have a cultural affairs department. I know we would not have a NoHo Arts District. I know that the city would not be as happy of a place without Joel being here. I wanted to speak to who is here is Leslie DeBouvet from the Theater of Hope for Abused Women, Mary Garcia from the Outdoor Chandler Gallery, and Susan Krieg, who is the artist of this wonderful piece. We also, because not everybody could be here, we also have been collecting wishes from people from North Hollywood, from the community that you served, from people that are here as well, your staff. And we have a whole group of wishes for you to take with you. So anytime that you need a little boost or say that people really care, they always will care. And we thank you so very much.
Thank you. The another part of Councilmember Wax's reputation and track record here in the city is one of responsible community planning and letting the community really have a voice in dictating their future. I'd like to call next Ms. Lori Dinkin from the president. She's the president of the Valley Village Homeowners Association.
Thank you very much. Joel, you have always served our community for 30 years. You are a rare person, a politician who has dealt fairly and honestly with your constituents and served the city of Los Angeles with honor and with class. Your vigilance has saved the taxpayers of this city millions of dollars. You have been our friend, a wise counselor, giving advice and listening to our concerns. We shall miss you very much, and we wish you well in your new endeavors. We also want to thank your wonderful staff. They have reflected your thoughtfulness and your devotion. Your staff has always been there with advice, understanding, and action. I'm not going to say farewell. I'm going to say a German word that's called Auf Wiedersehen, because I fully expect I will have lunch with you in New York, because my grandson lives in New York, works in Manhattan, and thank God was safe. So I hope to see you in New York, and we thank you for everything. And we have a plaque, and that says, Councilman Wax, with deep affection and appreciation for his constant support and devotion to our Valley Village, California community. And this has been our Valley Village Homeowners Association. God bless.
Thank you, Joel. We'll miss you so much.
Thank you very much. The next group of individuals I'd like to call forward are also from the 2nd Council District. Roy and Herman, representing 3 equestrian organizations. Some people find it hard to believe that in the city of Los Angeles we have rural and equestrian communities and organizations that take a leadership role in maintaining the integrity of those communities. ETI Corral 20, the Ranger Sidekicks, and the Valley Horse Owners Association. Ms. Herman?
Good morning, Council. Good morning, Joe. It appears that people before me have already said much of what we wanted to say about you, but because we're the horse people, and not too many people think of us as being literate, I think I'll run the risk of saying it again. We really do want to convey to you how much we appreciate the fact that you've spent every year in office trying to prevent urban creep from taking over our communities and changing our way of life. We also want you to know that we've been so grateful that we've always been able to reach your office, and we've always known without doubt that even when we disagreed with you, that our priorities were a part of your program, and that even if we didn't agree with your decisions, we knew you considered us in your deliberations, and we thank you. We knew, too, that you cared first about the city and about your people, as evidenced by, as someone already said, preventing us from having to pay for a sports center owned by private enterprise, by taking on our overly fat DWP. We've been extremely grateful. Because of your leadership and that of your Chief Deputy, Arlene DeSantis, we've become something of a unified and informed bloc. So when you leave this weekend, we're going to lose a general, and the person who tries to take your seat is going to have to be something of a giant of integrity to look us in the eye. And we want to thank you very, very much, and we only hope that he or she will be able to walk in your shoes. And as the gentleman who introduced me said, it's true, Valley Horse Owners and the Ranger Sidekicks and Equestrian Trails, Inc., Corral 20, which, by the way, folks, in and of itself represents the support of several hundred horse people just in CD2. So Councilman Wax is rather versatile, going from arts to horses to Valley Village to North Hollywood. It's amazing. But we did have each club take a vote, and they made a donation so that we could give you something to take to New York to remind you of us, because we'll never forget you, and thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to apologize to the 2nd Council District office. I've just been handed a note. There's another guest who wishes to speak, so I'm going to take somebody out of order. Mr. Jose Bonilla, past president of the Arleta Chamber of Commerce and Residents Association.
Good morning. Hi, Joe. Sorry for the late notice, but I've been so busy and people haven't been able to get in touch with me, but I finally found out at the last minute what was happening today, and I had to be here on behalf of the community of Arleta. I brought a card, and I think the saying is appropriate. It says, "We make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give." And I think it's appropriate for Joel. We want to thank you, Joel. It's been an honor to have had your guidance and support over the years. You can see I'm emotional because we're going to be missing you. The quality of life within our community of Arleta is a better place because of you. Together, we were able to close dangerous pedestrian tunnels under the Golden State Freeway, clean up graffiti, improve and strengthen neighborhood watch, build a welcome sign, and persuade DWP not to build a distributing station near Brantford Park. The completion of the new child care center at Brantford Park will be a lasting memorial to your commitment to our community. Arlita was blessed by God when you became our city councilman. On behalf of my family and the community of Arlita, we wish you a great life in New York. Your friend, Jose Bonilla.
Thank you, Jose. Colleagues, this next presentation is really a special treat. I think you may recall one of the last meetings that we had outside of City Hall was at the Airtel, and we had a special presentation by the following group then. If I can ask Dixie Hendrickson, Executive Director of Activities for Retarded Children, to come forward and bring forward her group for a performance.
Oh, you've actually got more.
You know, this is something special, so you have to give us another second or two. And for 30 years, Joel has helped us. He found us in the Studio City Park when we wanted to have a place to meet, so we used his office in the Valley. And he sent Mr. Stevenson here out, and he said, go out and tell those two old ladies who are doing this how to work the system. They don't know, they don't have the slightest idea. So he helped us get started, and he's been helping us ever since. We're going to miss him terribly. We're going to play him a tune, America the Beautiful. Then we have a little something special for him to take to New York. You remember Spike Jones. A lot of you all remember Spike Jones. And it's Give My Regards to Broadway and the ARC Spike Jones rendition.
Thank you very much. Joel, I want to recognize that I'm being bombarded now with notes from organizations from your districts who have come here to join us in the celebration. But from this point forward, I think it's best if we stick to the rest of the agenda and move forward. Before I forget, I do want to invite all members of the public who have come today to a special reception following the council meeting out in the rotunda. I believe on your way in, you saw the tables and some of the food being laid out. So I want to recognize and thank for their sponsorship. I think our controller will be happy that no city dollars are going into this. Thank for their sponsorship, Krispy Kreme Donuts and Western Bagel for their donations of this morning's goodies. And colleagues, now it's our turn. The people of the 2nd Council District have been blessed for nearly 30 years to have Joel as their council representative, and we've been blessed to have Joel as a colleague and as a friend. It comes at a particularly tough time. This year has been a year of many changes. May he rest in peace. We lost our dear president and friend, John Ferraro. With the impact of term limits, there's also 6 new members and 6 new faces here on the City Council. So to lose Joel at this particular time of transition is going to be a challenge. But we want to make sure that he knows that as he moves on to New York, that we're going to constantly remind him. He may live in New York, but he's an Angelino. He may work in New York, but he's Los Angeles' native son. And we have some old pictures to prove it. Pictures of Joel as an attorney, pictures of Joel as student body president at UCLA. He's got Angelino blood running through him, through and through. I wish I could say I remember the day when he first announced his candidacy for the 2nd Council District. But I am proud to stand here and say that Joel has built a lifetime of accomplishments just in his service here on the City Council that most people can't compare to in their lifetime over an entire career. He worked to create the Santa Monica Mountains Conservancy. He authored our nation's very first law to outlaw discrimination against people with AIDS. And he certainly has been a close friend of the historical preservation movement, and on and on and on. Personally, I'm going to miss Joel. Some people would think, and I shared this with some friends on Monday, that his presence here means a lot to me because of the gasp in the crowd he drew in July of this year. That was touching, but more so because he was there for me when I first ran. When I was first running 2.5 years ago, Joel took the bold step and supported me and endorsed me. And I only hope to be able to stand here years later and say, Joel, I hope I didn't let you down. I hope you look back on that decision and are happy that it was the right decision. And in these last 2 years, we've gotten to know each other both personally, you know, our conversations, and professionally. And although we didn't always see eye to eye, the Democratic National Convention comes to mind. I know, Joel, that you were always one that was virtuous, honorable, and principled. When Joel took a position on an issue, there was never any doubt about his passion. And when the issue was critical, we never had to wonder where Joel stood. Colleagues, today, our city loses a great leader. But as I said before, we're not going to say goodbye. We're only going to say, see you later. And Joel, please know that you're always welcome back into this place, the People's Building.
Thank you, Mr. President. The chair would now...
At this point in time, colleagues, we have been joined by our mayor, and I'd like to call him forward to join me in presenting this resolution to our friend Joel Wax. We wanted to add all of his accomplishments here in the resolution, but we'd be environmentally unfriendly if we have too much paper. But Mr. Mayor, if you'd like to say a few words, and then ask you to join me in presenting this resolution.
Thank you very much, Council President Padilla. To Joel Wax, who I've known for a very, very long time, and we both are kids who grew up in South Central, who understand this city. Been somebody who have been a colleague of mine, client of mine, and even a competitor. And I've enjoyed every moment that I've been able to spend with you, because you have been somebody who's been passionate about civil and human rights. You care very deeply about the city. You fought for the rights of seniors. Everybody who was somebody who couldn't afford a lobbyist had the best lobbyist they could get, because they had you on their side. And over and over again, you have fought those valiant fights. I know this has got to be a tough time for you. You've had so many wonderful years here in this council chamber. It's so good to be back here again in this chamber. I know we all suffered when we were across the street in City Hall East, and it's fitting that we're here on this farewell tour for you. So, and we really are appreciative of the fact that you're going to be carrying that Los Angeles flag back to New York City. And we really, I think so many people's hearts are touched by what's going on in New York, and we're going to send you there as our ambassador to tell them how much we care about them. Good luck to you in your career. Appreciated everything you've done. You have set the standard for public service in the city of Los Angeles, and I think we all want all of the people who think about entering public service to look at your career as a model. Congratulations, Joel.
Now, Joel, before you accept this, I think there's 14 others who have something to say.
The chair would like to represent the now or soon-to-be senior member of the council, Councilmember Hal Bernstein.
Hey, the last of the old part. Boy, that's a heavy load being the senior member. Joel, you're deserting me and making me the senior member. But let me just say that Joel and I have served a lot of years together, and I think that I can't think of anybody that served with more integrity and real feeling for the people he served than Joel. We agreed most of the time. Not all the time. I was usually right when we were on opposite sides of the issue. But I can tell you that we're going to sorely miss you. Not just his knowledge, because you don't accumulate, I mean, you know, you don't just sit in this seat for the 30-plus years that Joel's been here and not know just about everything that makes this city tick. But the feeling that he had, the emotion, I mean, he was really involved in every issue that he was involved in. It was with his heart and with his soul and thinking of the people he represented. And I hope that he will serve as an example to all of us, the newer members, the older members, that we can carry on with the same spirit, Joel, that you've embodied in this circle since I've known you. And we're going to miss you sorely, but hopefully we will see you from time to time. And I know you're going to bring something special to New York City. God bless you and good luck.
Thank you.
The chair now recognizes Councilmember Perry.
Joel, you're a warrior for the taxpayers, and you've raised our level of understanding about the importance of art and culture in all of our communities. But on a personal note, you really moved me the day that you gave such a touching personal birthday tribute to our friend Stanley Hirsch. The love and depth of your words still resonate with me, and that's the Joel Wax that I know And just so I can be reminded of you every day, I've introduced a motion, and Jack Weiss has seconded it, and we're going to ask that second and grand in front of Mocha be named Joel Wax Square. So we're going to miss you, but we'll be thinking of you every day.
Thank you. The chair recognizes Councilmember Reyes.
Joel, I just want to say that back in the 70s and 80s, we had a council member named Joel Wax come in Northeast Los Angeles area. So I know you've been vast in your leadership throughout the different neighborhoods throughout the city. But just this morning, you commented to me that the Aztec Firefighters, a program that deals with youth, getting youth out of gangs, to provide them skills and exposure to something constructive is what the city needs, and we should be funding these programs, and this is where our attention should be. And that speaks to the depth of your knowledge of how the city can be improved. It's with those kinds of programs, those kinds of services, that comes from years of experience. So I truly appreciate your insight and hope that you can be there in the future for us. We will continue to need your guidance. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Pacheco.
Madam President, colleagues. Well, Joe, I guess I'm not sure where to start. When I went and met with everyone after I got elected, there was no one more excited to see me than Joel, so I really appreciate that. And I think the one piece of advice, or the one thing that we focused in on, was always challenge the status quo and always look for better ways to service your constituents. And I really appreciate your warm welcome and your excitement for having me on the council. I wanted to share that with you. And I'm going to miss all the loud laughter from that side of the room. I was on that side of the room for a while between a couple of our colleagues over there. So good luck in New York, and you'll always have a friend in Los Angeles.
Chair recognizes Councilmember Weiss.
Thank you, Madam President. Joel, I just want to tell you on a personal note how much it's meant to me these past 2.5 months to have the chance, as I'm starting out here, to sit next to you and to learn from you, to always be able to nudge you, ask you for advice, and to hear your commentary on things as they've developed. It's meant so much to me in terms of, gaining the proper perspective on how you're supposed to do this job, to have that bit of advice and wisdom and counsel from you, and I thank you for that. I also want you to know, as we discussed this morning, I represent a district that for a long time was your district, and it's true. As I knocked on doors this past year, I can't tell you how many people would ask me, well, what do you do? And I'd say, I'm running for city council here. And they'd say, well, you mean in Joel Wax's district? And to some extent, that will always be the case. A large portion of the west side, the hillside areas, Sherman Oaks, Studio City, always will be Joel Wax's district. And people have a lot to be thankful for.
Thank you. The chair recognizes Councilmember Ridley Thomas.
Madam President, members of the council, my colleague Joel Wax, it's been for now a little better than a decade that I have had the benefit of either being your immediate seat mate or at least one seat over. And I say benefit with all sincerity. It would seem to me that we can define Joel Wax's tenure, presence, and contribution on this body by 3 words: independence, agility, and intellect. It would seem to me those 3 words begin to speak to the enormous contribution that you have made. And rather than belabor this point, I think it is sufficient to say that the Warhouse Foundation's gain is clearly the Los Angeles City Council's loss in this instance. We think highly of you. We respect you. We appreciate all that you have done, and we wish you our very best. Godspeed, Joel.
The chair would now like to recognize Councilmember Garcetti.
Thank you, Madam President. I'll be brief, Joel, because our time together has been brief as well, but I echo what Councilmember Pacheco said in terms of you sometimes mourn what you know is already gone, and the short interactions that we've had, though you were tagged with the unfair name of Dr. No in this last campaign, you've always been colleague yes and so welcoming, and it is something in which politicians cannot fake. Your heart seems to lead everything that you do. And lest we think that we have to talk about what Joel Wax did in the past tense, I want you to know that you are still here in the present tense. And when I hear my colleague Dennis Zine talking about keeping those taxpayer dollars really tight, I know that's Joel Wax speaking. When Janice Hahn and myself speak about neighborhood councils and the importance of that, that's Joel Wax speaking. When Councilmember Weiss talks about what he wants to do with arts and culture, it's only because your voice has been there before. And know that those things that you have championed will continue to be championed, not just because of our priorities, but because you spoke about them, and you spoke about them for so long. You always added, in looking at council history, some drama to the council, and I hope that we can continue that in your name. You always led with your heart, and I hope that we can continue that too, because politics really needs that. As your booklets said, you really did put people first here in a way that I think we have not really seen very often, and I thank you for that. And please, 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 please be available on the phone for all of us when we do call. Thank you.
The chair recognizes Councilmember Zine.
Thank you, Madam Chair, colleagues. I've known Joel for many, 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 many years. When I was a motorcycle supervisor out in the San Fernando Valley, worked with Joel, many traffic safety issues, many traffic safety concerns. Later in life, when I went to the Los Angeles Police Protective League as a director, and we had problems with negotiations, benefits, I would seek Joel's advice, Joel's direction, and always follow it, and always turned out well for everyone. I remember this past Mother's Day, seeing Joel at Jewish Home for the Aging with his mom. Joel being a compassionate person, a giving person, a caring person, what some refer to as the Jewish cowboy, since Joel didn't only represent a community in the lower parts of the San Fernando Valley, but the cowboys and cowgirls up in Salentahunga. I remember when you assumed that, and you were wearing cowboy boots for a period of time. Joel has been able to represent his community and the city of Los Angeles with pride and honor for many, many years, and he has laid a foundation for us, the newcomers to the city council, to follow with that lead. When it comes to a fight, Joel is always there for the fight for the cause of the people. But from the law enforcement perspective, from the senior lead program, and I see two ladies in the audience, the senior lead people, Sandy Muns and Paige Miller, who have led that crusade along with you for community policing, for the support of the community. It goes from one end of the spectrum to the other, all inclusive. And I wish you the best in New York. I wish you the best with the arts industry there. I know you'll be a great ambassador. God bless you and keep you healthy, Joe.
The chair now calls Councilmember Ruth Galanter.
Well, Joel, as you yourself have pointed out to me, I don't do flowery speeches as well as my colleagues. So what I really want to say is that you do remember pointing that out to me. So I'm not going to attempt it on this occasion. What I want to say to you is I think that as I listen to all this, most of us in this room are pretty good at those kinds of speeches. I really am not, and I acknowledge the point. But this is sounding just a little bit too funereal for my taste. And I think it's important that we see this day not as the end of your council career, but as the beginning of something I think is going to be an enormous lot of fun for you. And I wish you all the best with it. I think you'll have forgotten about us in a month. And because you'll be busy, and because you won't have to sit through meetings that go on as long as these do. You'll have your own meetings to worry about. So I do want to wish you all the best. I think it's a great job that you're going to. As I told you the day you announced it, it's really the perfect place for you, and I'm sure you will enjoy it. Even with all the aggravations, I hope you have a wonderful time.
Thank you. If I can now just take, excuse me. Chair now recognizes Councilmember Holden.
Oh, no, Nate. Do me a favor and don't say anything.
It's just a game, Joe, just a game. You know, I didn't want to, I was trying to avoid saying anything, but then the public wonder why, having served with you for 14 years and not having anything to say, you want to know why. I wouldn't say anything. And then I could easily say because he didn't do anything, so I didn't say anything. Or at least anything that I like, but that's okay too. But all my colleagues have been pretty much politically correct, and if I were to say anything, I would be politically incorrect. But you would understand that because you and I know it's a game. Is that right, Joe? We talked about that. Fact of the matter is that each of us remember something important that our colleagues have done over the years. And we talk about those things they've done. Pretty good, huh, Joe? But I will say this, that Joe, you've done a lot of good things, I'm sure, and my colleagues have reminded us of all the good things you've done, and they said nice things about you. But just a few things that I remember, if you bear with me. And they're all, these elected officials are nice guys. Standing behind you is the mayor, Jim Hahn. And you were just running for mayor. You were in that contest. And I was glad to see you out there, Joe. I put a motion in because my dear friend Joe, I'm going to receive and file the motion now that you're going, Joe. The motion says that you cannot mail out directories in my district that you don't represent. You know what I mean? I'm politically incorrect. But the fact of the matter is that I'm going to receive and file that motion, and because it's non-applicable. It's just not a thing to do. But I do remember Joe in other situations. The fact of the matter is that the council, 14 members, got so mad at Joel once, and he represented just about all of the city of Los Angeles. Because every time there was a reapportionment plan, they kept moving him. He moved him from here, moved him over there, hoping that the new people wouldn't know how good he really was. But it never didn't take Joel long to let the people know that he was the top in his class and that he would represent them well, even though he had not represented them previously. And so where he's at right now, he didn't get 100% of the vote, but he got pretty close to it. And Joel, we know that you'll be so recognized when you assume your new position in New York in the art field. And certainly we want to applaud you for being selected as the #1 candidate for that job. You know, I like you so much, Joe, because you and I are pretty much alike. And I like a good contest. You give me one over and over again. I like that. And so when I'm back in New York, I'm going to let you know that I'm there as your friend. And when you come here to LA, I want you to know that I'm your friend and that we'll be friends until, you know, the very end. You're a good guy. We love you. I fought with you. I like that, but I still love you, Joe. It's just a game.
Thank you, Mr. Holden. Joel, before I turn the microphone over to you, let me just add my comments. Although I referred to Councilmember Brinson as your most senior serving colleague, I think you and I have served with each other around this horseshoe and myself from the staff position back since 1971 in your first campaign. And the only thing I would like to add is when Councilmember Ridley Thomas talked about 3 words that identify you, there was one other one that is just basic to your core, and that is integrity. And that is so even there are words and movements and positions today that are taken for granted that weren't when you were first here in 1971. Environment is now a department and an institution, and before Joel, environment wasn't a word heard around this council. You have given voices to the voiceless and names to the nameless and elevated them to places and positions here. Tenants' rights, seniors. Seniors did not exist as an institution and a group that were considered important until you helped work with them and for them. You have elevated all of those groups, those organizations, and those people, and you've also elevated politics and given it a good name and equated it with public service. And I think for all of that, the people and those of us around the horseshoe who have served with you are grateful and appreciate and looking forward to doing even more in the future, particularly in the area of arts that have also benefited here and have a name and a place in this city because of you. So Joel, now it is your turn.
We rarely go through the formalities, but today's a special occasion. Colleagues, before we hear from Joel, I want to read the ending of this resolution here. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the City Council, along with the Mayor, City Attorney, and City Controller of Los Angeles, hereby honor Joel Wax for his noble service and visionary leadership, especially in espousing an open government and for helping to give politics a good name. We thank him for his courage and conviction and for what he's done during his years on the City Council, and we salute him for wisdom, zealous defense of tax dollars, and a magnificent advocacy of our local neighborhoods, businesses, and residents. We wish him the mightiest and sweetest of years ahead as he takes on the daunting challenge of helping New York City to rebuild through artistry, creativity, community, free expression, and compassion. We furthermore declare this day, Friday, September 28th, 2001, to be Joel Wax Day in the city of Los Angeles. Through his steadfast ways and caring deeds, Joel Wax has made the city of Los Angeles a better place in which to live.
I'm not sure my colleagues would have signed this if they had read it all. It pays to have the best resolution writer on your staff. I didn't make a speech today, believe it or not. I just thought I'd come and say thank you in about 30 seconds. But I can't, so you have to bear with me, and I'll try to compose some thoughts. All the things that you've said that I've done, other than those that have been done by force of my own character, I couldn't do without my staff. Jan and Ed and Cindy and all know the value of staff. They came up through that. You can't do this job alone. I don't care who you are. You simply can't. And I've been blessed to have an extraordinary staff. I looked around. I know my current staff members are here, and some of them are now working for other council members who've been recently elected. And then as I look around, I see some additional staff that had previously been on the staff. They've been really amazing. Some of them, like Evelyn, has been with me. Evelyn worked for my predecessor. And she's probably the longest serving person in City Hall, and I kept her as my partner all these years. And how many years? 40? Just about 40. But from the people who've been there from the beginning to the people who are the most recent on the staff, they've been extraordinary. The field staff, Candy K and Candy C and Jocelyn and Pat and all have, we've always had a motto in our office: people are entitled to what they want or a good reason why not. But that's the minimum. You have to listen to people, and you have to respond to people. And sometimes you can help, and if you can't, you have to give a good reason that they can understand. They have always done that. They've taken the time with each individual person. My planning director, Deputy Dale Thrush, and my former planning deputy, Tom Henry, who's now working as Dennis Zines. He's in good shape, Dennis, with Tom there. My arts person, Patty Wilson, she's the only person in City Hall over all these years. Patty and Lee Raymer came on as CETA workers, actually, in my office way back, and have worked as my liaison to the arts over all these years, and I think it indicates the value I put on that I've had full-time people doing that. And B, talk about CETA. Oh, B. Arzu, I'm telling you, she was working at the Watt Skills Center. And I hired her as a CETA worker in the 70s, and she has grown up with me and her family and her two fine young sons who've graduated and great athletes and scholars, and been with me all that time, and earned her way up into a really high position in the office. Paul Newman, who's a genius and who writes these wonderful things. This is probably the best one he's ever written, if I have to say so myself. Thank you, Paul. I'm just trying to think. Young Eric, who came in new and is just fantastic. And who have I forgotten besides Arlene and Greg? Who's here? Oh, Nancy. Well, Jack Weiss is so lucky to have Nancy working. Nancy is the first impression is when you call and someone answers that phone. Nancy may be the best person for someone to call in all of City Hall. She just makes you feel good, and she cares about you, and and her daughter Jamie, who worked with me, and Donna's back, and Huey is back here, and Arlene, who is now going to be the chief of staff until a successor has been elected, used to work for Councilwoman Stevenson, and someone mentioned, Nate mentioned how I used to get reapportioned, and one day Peggy Stevenson decided that she would like to have all of Hollywood, and so I became the council member in Highland Park. Mike gave a pancake breakfast for me when he was the head of the Junior Chamber of Commerce out there in Glassell Park and Atwater, and Arlene, who had been working for Peggy, came onto my staff and has worked with me ever since and has been remarkable. I couldn't have the kind of happy constituency you see without her efforts in supervising all of the staff. And my right-hand person has been a person that you're going to now know in another capacity, and that's Greg Nelson. He was working for Sam Yorty in 1971 when he came onto the staff. All of you know that I've talked for 9 years about a citywide network of neighborhood councils and how much I believed in it and how passionate I was about it. But it was Greg who, for 3 years before I introduced that concept almost 9 or 10 years ago, who was the real person who brought it to my attention as to what it could do for a city. And everything that he said it could do is even more important now, because he really talked about opening up a city and giving people a chance to contribute and to participate and to be somebody and to grow as people. What did we learn from what happened in New York? If we learned anything in a society that dotes on celebrity and dotes on superstars, it's that ordinary people do extraordinary things, and they do them not only in times of crisis, but they do them every single day. And we need a mechanism to encourage and embrace that. And the neighborhood council concept of an open government is one that I would believe will accomplish that. And Greg is now rightfully the person who will be heading that department, and you will work with him and follow that out. And this city will be very grateful for it. It's a very exciting concept. And to Mayor Jim Hahn, who appointed him, that just shows me you really got it. No, You did the right thing, and you saw in him, and you have been making some remarkable appointments. And I thank you for putting Greg in this position. He will make you proud. He will make the city proud. My colleagues, gosh, where do we start? I've been critical, as you know, from time to time of this council, but I'm more optimistic now than I've been in a long time. I think this is a remarkable new council. I think it's the right blend of senior members who have experience and new members who have ideals and visions. Hal, Hal's now the senior member on the council. I remember when he first got elected, I didn't think we liked each other. I thought, oh God, we're not going to get along too well. If ever I've seen a person with the capacity to grow as an individual, to himself broaden his views, his perspectives, and really respond to a whole range of people and interests, Hal's been amazing. I consider him now one of my best friends, and I've watched him through his difficulties in his family and the strength of keeping it together after the tragedy, and he's a really remarkable person. And Ruth is probably the brightest person here. People used to say I'm smart, but let me tell you, Ruth has wisdom, and she has acumen, and she is an incredible person who you should take advantage of. I only hope for you the same thing that you hoped for me, Ruth, that I'm going to be on the lookout too. Seriously, I hope that you get a position after this to continue to be able to contribute with your skills and your talents in something, and hopefully that will come about. Eric, you're amazing. I mean, I didn't only know you a while, but I went to Washington High School with your father. So I know Garcetti's for a long time, but you've got everything it takes. You really do. I sit here and I watch you, and you're smart, and you've got a heart, and you're doing it for the right reasons. And I think that you have an amazing opportunity to make a name for yourself. I'm sorry Janice isn't here. I know she called. She's out at the Watchtowers. And you know what? That to me is more important, that someone be there looking after the Watchtowers than are here as a part of this tribute. But she too she only had a good last name for politics. She's got a great future. And she also really gets it in terms, as Eric mentioned, in terms of things like neighborhood councils and the kind of responsiveness that people want in their elected officials. Oh, Nate. Nate says it's a game, and he respects the people who play it well, and I think that's why we sort of have a respect for each other, even when we disagree. He has savvy, he has street smarts, he knows how to relate to the average person and respond to them, and he plays a hard game, and you have to play a hard game back, and I think that through that you earn each other's mutual respect, even when you don't always agree on issues. And I hope you still save and enjoy and use those citizen directories, constituent directories I sent to you, Nate. Let's see, we're going around. Well, Cindy is up there, but I have known Cindy worked for Lil Melograno, who was one of the candidates. There were 17 of us running for the city council in 1971 against an incumbent. And Lil had been one of the people who started the Hillside movement and started the citizen homeowner activist movement in trying to preserve the mountains, and was actually the Times endorsed candidate. And I came in first, and Potter was second, and Lil was third, and then Cindy started to help me and worked for Marvin. And I think we have shared the same values and the same passion for things. And the best compliment, I told this to Cindy once, but my brother, who was a severe critic of the city council and would watch the meetings and would be critical of everyone, one day said, well, there were two council members he really liked. One was Diane, who used to sit as the clerk, but my brother thought she was a council member because, and that she was so efficient and so good and just knew what she, and he said, and the other one is that Miss Akowski. But I wouldn't hesitate handing over the direction of this city and its government to Cindy in a moment. I think she brings just a knowledge and an ability to work hard and to hear things and to stand up for what she thinks is right and articulate them. And I think I think she's fantastic. And Nick, I was excited when you won. And I did like the fact that you beat the establishment. And I think that's really important. We have to keep on having that kind of spirit. And I just want you to continue doing it because you come with a great background, both in law enforcement and as well as local government. And I think you have a tremendous, tremendous potential. And we've talked about that. And I really wish you well and as we go on. And Jan, Mike Wu was so lucky to have Jan. Rita was lucky too, but she didn't always quite understand. But Jan, like you, the hard way, the old-fashioned way, did it on her own by going out there and working hard and bucking a lot of the establishment, and is going to be a very, very strong. And thank you for that motion. I'm very grateful. And Ed is as solid as can be. And it's again, and Nick, I got to thank you for recognizing Ed's talents when it wasn't necessarily thought of going to be the thing to do. And you were right. And I think you have great strength and a really solid person, and I wish you well. You've got a tough district to represent, as Mike well knows, and I think it needs someone like you. Mark, I feel probably is closer to than anyone. Sometimes people say, how do you and Mark get along like that? And Mark has an amazing vision of humanity. I mean, an understanding of what's important and what's not, and the breadth of things, and to be able to put that into that kind of a broader perspective of what things mean, not just now, but in the bigger context, historically and in the future. And I've watched you raise your two wonderful sons and be there through Avis's illness and just be a remarkable person, and to put into action the things that I often espoused in terms of neighborhood empowerment and council. Mark has just been amazing of how much he's devoted to that and how he's shown what a successful model it could be. And I'm gonna really miss Mark a lot. Jack Weiss. Jack's another one, another future superstar, in my opinion. No, seriously, you're smart. You have a good balanced background. You have a keen mind. You seem to have running for all the right reasons, and it's so important to have people like you in government. And Dennis has a unique capacity to give, really, because things change with law enforcement. One day we're talking about reform, and the next day we're talking about increased security. They're not counter to each other. They're not, reform and law enforcement aren't opposite thoughts. They go hand in hand to have the strongest law enforcement. Dennis has the ability to bring a perspective and giving us a balance in the way that we support our law enforcement and give it the tools and the resources we need, and still require a standard of conduct, an adherence to a standard of ethics, and to make the public understand that we can't divide up into pro and anti, but we have to all be together for one department, of which we have had a lot to be proud of, and hopefully with your input will continue. I think that's really, really important. And Alex, well, before I get to Alex, as I was thinking here, there's some people who aren't here that also meant a lot to me from the past. One was John Ferraro. And in fact, I think, Mark, if I put a file on my desk, could you get me? I saw this morning. If you could give me this. John Ferraro is amazing. I mean, there's no question that I was council president because of John Ferraro. I wasn't even running for the office, and I woke up the morning of the election, and John said, if you'll vote for yourself, we'll give you 7 other votes. And to prove to you that, telling the truth, they're going to start alphabetically, and by the time it gets to you, you'll know whether you have them or not. And it came around, and I was council president, and I thought, God. But I was cleaning out my desk, and I found something from 1971. This council passed a tax on the initial reading, and instructed the city attorney to prepare an ordinance to have an admissions tax to try to raise money at the time. And I have been against taxes from day one, so I was the head of the committee that was in charge of taxes, but I didn't really want us to have to do this. But the council voted for it and asked the city clerk to do the ordinance. John, who wasn't afraid of taxes, but this one impacted something really dear to him, all the sports teams in the city. So John came to me one day and he said, when the city attorney gets you the ordinance back to your committee, just hold it. I was unpacking my desk and I have held it for 30 years. For 30 years, we have not had this admissions tax because this has been in my desk, and I'm going to give it to the city clerk, to Conrad, when I leave, to have you, hopefully, this council will receive and file this motion. I miss Peggy and Bob Stevenson. Things change over time because people help bring about change, but it wasn't always the same. I remember the first year I got elected. And the first church in the gay and lesbian community, the Metropolitan Community Church, was just beginning on a church on a building down on Hoover. And they asked if I would come and speak to them. And I guess no elected official had ever spoken in a group like that. And I said, of course I'll come and speak. And I remember at the time I'd actually gotten a call from the editor of the Herald Examiner, asking me not to go. And they had endorsed me in the election and asked me not to go and said it was not the right thing to do. And I was stunned that a newspaper editor publisher would actually call you and ask you not to give a speech. And I went, and Bob Stevenson came with me. And Peggy came as well. Bob was the councilman at the time. And that broke new ground, and it opened up a lot of things to make it possible for a lot of people to be present at things that today you wouldn't think twice about. But that was so dangerous then that you would have the editor of a major paper in town call you to not go. So I miss Bob, and then Peggy took his place and was a dear and close personal friend of mine, and I miss her. I miss Joy Pikus a lot because she had the love for the arts. We would go to museums and to theater and to dance and really enjoy, and we still do. I miss that. I miss Zev because even though we were competitive, nobody has more skills and more ability than he does. He's strong when you need him to be, and he's really pretty amazing. I miss Rita, because to me she was a moral compass. When Mark and I would fool around and Rudy and all the time, I'd look over at Rita and I thought I was looking at my mom and dad, and I knew that I knew I better shape up. And I told her that, I got to tell her that the other night. But more than anyone, I guess I miss Ernie Bernardi, because to me, we didn't always agree. We didn't even agree on the ordinance prohibiting discrimination based on sexual orientation. But Ernie was, to thine own self be true. Ernie was a person who was really true to himself and his beliefs. And he never deviated from that. And as I've gone around this room, that was a value to me a lot. It's something I want to say to Alex, because I think Alex, and I didn't forget you, I wanted to put it maybe in this context. You can go to the top. You've got everything going for you. But the thing is to do what I learned from Ernie, and I hope that you will learn from us, is to be true to yourself. It goes back a lot to what my parents said to me after I first got elected. It was one of those 17 people. We had $24,000, 10 from my dad, and the rest we raised. Bruce Corwin was my treasurer, and we raised the other $14,000. We had 2 people on staff, Mark Armbruster and Harry Sloan. They got $500 each, and Rick Tuttle was controller at UCLA. He gave them a semester of credit each. They were students. They ran the campaign, and everything else was volunteers. And my father stood there for 5 months at supermarkets giving out cards saying, "Vote for my son Joel." And my mother ran the headquarters with volunteers 7 days a week, led by my dear Aunt Dolly, who is sitting there and still here. And my mom ran the headquarters, and when it was all done, we won, and the late Art Seidenbaum did a half-hour documentary for KCET, not on me, but on the role my parents played in getting me elected. And at the end of the program, they asked my mom and dad, after all of this, what would you like? And they said, "What would you like from your son?" And they said, "We want he should be a good boy." And I think that that's probably what Alex's parents have said to him in their way. I've tried very hard to be that good boy. I mean, in that sense, give politics a good name. I appreciate you saying that, Cindy. I've tried very hard. I think public service should be a high calling. I think it should be an honorable calling. I think that the events in New York show how important it is to have good leaders and strong leaders that can do the job that needs to be done at that time. And I think, Alex, you have the opportunity. I was away, obviously, in New York when it happened. I came back and people told me how well you responded and how well you handled that situation. And if all of us just sort of remember this of being true to ourselves and being true to what we believe in and not yielding to the kind of endless temptations that are around here every single day to deviate from that, but to know why you got elected. And the reason people get elected is the people who've come down here today from the community to help pay tribute. They're the people who matter. They are the people who elect you. They expect you to respond and to be their representative. They're there to help you. I think we have learned that lesson, that again, that people are willing to do enormous things and to help make this the kind of city that, in every city you want it to be. My staff just gave me a mention, someone that that is not here now, but I couldn't have been the councilman for the new area. You talked about assuming a new role if it wasn't for Howard Finn and Ann, who is here still today, to have made that possible. That wouldn't have happened. They know how dear it is, and there's a tie in there, because in the last analysis, what is the city made of? It's made of millions of people that come from all different places in the same way that our parents and grandparents come. They come for one thing, to make a better life for themselves, for their families. They bring so much with them. If we just give people the opportunity to contribute what they're capable of contributing, if we just give people the opportunity to participate in the way that I think we saw in New York, people want to participate at every single level. If we just give them the opportunity to grow as human beings and individuals, we're going to have a great city. I mean, the best is yet to come of Los Angeles. And I may be taking a new job in New York for 4 years, but I'm keeping my house here. I'm coming back every month to visit my mom. And when I come back in 4 years, I hope that you will have helped bring it to the next level and bring the city, shaping it to the future that I know it can be. I think Los Angeles is destined to become the world's greatest city, and each of you play an important role in making that happen, and I look forward to your doing that, and hopefully I will, like everyone else, reap the rewards for that when I come back here. And so thank you, and thank everybody here, and my mom, who is home hopefully watching, for making this life pretty darn good. And now we're going to get another 15 minutes in New York.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Next.
Thank you, Joel, for all those years. And let me remind everybody that immediately after council, actually I think you're going to beat us to it, there is a reception outside and you're all invited to join us. Mr. Clerk, first order of business.
Call the roll. Bernstein, Galander, Garcetti, Hahn, Holden, Miscassi, Pacheco, Perry, Reyes, Ridley, Thomas, Wax, Weiss, Zine, and Padilla. 12 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
First order of business.
Approval of the minutes.
Mr. Reyes moves. Mr. Ridley Thomas seconds. Taking a brief pause here. Next item.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Mr. Wax moves. Mr. Zine seconds.
Mr. President, before starting the regular agenda, there's a couple items to be dealt with. Item number 14, a request from Councilmember Miskowski that this matter be withdrawn from the agenda and referred to the Budget and Finance Committee.
Colleagues, item 14, request to be referred to committee without objection.
Item number 40, a request from Council District 1 to continue that matter until October 5th.
Request to continue item 40, also without objection.
Mr. President, that brings you to commission appointments. Items numbers 1 through 5 are appointments to the Board of Library Commissioners. There are Arts, Health, and Humanity report recommendations on all 5 appointments.
Okay, let's call all Library Commission nominees forward as a group. There's 3 chairs here at the front of the podium. We'll try to get a couple more. Colleagues, consideration of these commission appointees was held in committee. Public hearing is not necessary, and I don't have one card from a member of the public, but I believe hearing was held in committee. Council members wishing to speak? Mr. Weiss.
Thank you, Mr. President. We are really privileged to have before us some terrific nominees to a very important commission. We did have a public hearing in committee, and we had a good discussion with the commissioner nominees then. I want to thank them for being here. I know the hearing is getting started a little later than 10 o'clock this morning, but we had good reason to start late this morning. Ms. McCoy, one of the nominees, was here this morning until 11:30, and she had to leave to catch a plane. Otherwise, she would have been here at the table with all of you. I just want to commend all of you for your desire to serve in this capacity. It is so important, the task that you're setting out to do. Unfortunately, the years ahead in Los Angeles, budgeting may be even more difficult than we had already thought it was going to be for obvious reasons. You have a lot of challenges ahead of all of you, but I know each of the individuals who are here today at this table has many years of service behind you. You have a real incredible desire to serve the public and to serve the libraries of this city, and I wish you well, and I urge my colleagues to join me in voting to approve your nominations.
Thank you, Mr. Weiss. Any other members wishing to speak? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please open the roll on confirmation of the commissioners. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next item, please.
Item number 6 is appointment of Commissioner Ms. Gay Harwin to the Board of Pension Commissioners. There is a Budget and Finance Committee report.
Colleagues, another commission appointment now before us. Hearing has been held in committee. Thank you for your patience. Any members wishing to speak? Mr. Holden.
What about my pension money? You know anything about it? How you going to invest it? That tough time is ours now, right now. We losing money. You can answer. You're on the commission, aren't you?
You have to be a police officer.
Pardon? Oh, this for police?
This is LA Fire and Police.
Well, they got the best pension plan.
Mr. Zine.
Hear from the nominee's representative.
Yes, Cliff Ruff with the Police Protective League. I'm representing Ken Bazell and UFLAC and the Protective League today, and I'd like to strongly endorse Gay Harwin for this nomination. Reappointment. She and Gary Mattingly have been responsible for the savings of hundreds of $millions from the general fund by their good investment advice and practices.
Thanks, Cliff.
Thank you.
Any other members wishing to speak? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Congratulations on your reappointment.
Thank you.
Next item, please.
Item number 7, commission appointment, a Budget and Finance Committee recommendation regarding Thomas Miso to the Los Angeles City Employees Retirement System.
As he comes forward, colleagues, this was also heard in committee. and satisfied with the public hearing. Any members wishing to speak? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Next item, please.
Item number 8, another commission appointment, the Housing and Community Development Committee recommendation regarding Joanne Garcia to the Los Angeles Homeless Authority.
As she comes forward again, we have a committee recommendation. Chair recognizes Mr. Garcetti.
Mr. President. There we go. Excuse me. I just wanted to, colleagues, rise in full support of Ms. Garcia and her nomination to LASA. There were concerns, I know, from some folks that both of the LA City appointees don't live in Los Angeles City proper, but we did question both Ms. Garcia and Ms. Kearns, who's coming to us about that issue, and it's clear that their commitment is to be Los Angeles City representatives. And the two of them, in terms of their own background and their own work on homeless issues, make me very comfortable, and I strongly support their nominations at this time. But I'm glad that we raised those issues, and thank you for bringing those to our attention earlier. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Garcetti. Any other members wishing to speak? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Congratulations.
Item number 9 is the appointment of Christiane Kearns to the Los Angeles Homeless Authority. There is a Housing and Community Development Report recommendation.
Colleagues, this was also heard in committee. Any members wishing to speak? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Next item.
Item number 19 is the mayor's appointment of Cristina Sanchez Camino to the Board of Recreation Park Commissioners. Arts, Health, and Humanities waived consideration of this matter.
Item 19 was waived out of committee. I do not have cards wishing to speak on this item, so we shall deem public hearing open and closed. Members wishing to speak? Any members wishing to speak? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Congratulations. Time to get to work.
Item number 20 is also commission appointment, Carolina Reyes to the Board of Zoo Commissioners. Arts, Health, and Humanities waived consideration of this matter.
Item 20 was waived out of committee. Also do not have requests from members of the public to speak on this item. We shall deem the public hearing open and closed. Members wishing to speak? Item 20, Mr. Holden. Members wishing to speak? Seeing none. Mr. Clerk, please open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Congratulations. Next item.
Item number 21 is commission appointment, Gabriel Sandoval to the El Pueblo de Los Angeles Historical Monument Authority. Arts, Health, Humanities Committee waived consideration of this matter.
Mr. Sandoval here?
I've been notified that he was unable to make it today.
Okay, just want to make sure we're not missing anybody. Members wishing to speak on this? I don't have requests from members of the public. Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please open the roll on confirmation. Close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
He is confirmed as well. Next item.
Item number 22 is the commission appointment of Mr. George Locke to the Martin Luther King Jr. General Hospital Authority. Arts, Health, Humanities Committee waived consideration of this matter.
And I do not have requests from the public to speak on this item. Public hearing shall be deemed open and closed. Members wishing to speak, Mr. Ridley Thomas.
Mr. President, members of the council, I rise in support of Dr. George Locke, a distinguished neurosurgeon of some quarter of a century here in the city and county of Los Angeles. Has made his mark in any number of instances at the surgical table, but as a civic leader, one who is engaged in a variety of ways to improve the quality of life for the people of this region. Dr. Locke understands public policy and has made his contribution known. It is worth remembering the instance of the terrible shooting of a teacher at the Figueroa Elementary School. Some 4 or 5 years ago, maybe even more than that. And all of us, to one extent or another, were traumatized by that terrible, violent episode. It was George Locke and his surgical team who saved that innocent educator's life. And we celebrate the fact that he has moved along with considerable speed toward the road to recovery. And it seems to me that when we think about the heroes and the sheroes in our community, you have to think of the George Locks among us, and it is with that in mind that I take pride in supporting his reconfirmation to this commission. Mr. President.
Mr. Holden.
Hey, Doc, how you doing? I want to just reiterate those comments of support made by my colleague and friend, Mr. Thomas. Dr. Locke is synonymous. If you say Martin Luther King Jr. Hospital, then you say Dr. Locke, you know what it's all about. It was Supervisor Hahn who caused the hospital to be built. And you worked with Dr. Hill and a few of the other doctors in the area, along with you, who made it a success that it really is. Even before the hospital was open, Dr. Locke was heading a department at Martin Luther King. Is that right, Doc? And began to select the personnel, medical, doctors, and nurses and all, to gather there at the hospital to provide top-of-the-line health care for the constituents in the area who had previously been denied health care in South Central. I think we all know how that hospital came about, Doc. We had a guy whose wife needed some emergency care, and he was from Louisiana. He put a white towel or cloth on his antenna, and he drove in excessive speeds that they do there in case of an emergency. And not knowing he was in Los Angeles, he was stopped, apprehended, and I think he was shot and killed. And then the supervisor said, we need to have health care where it's needed there at that site. And you were one of the original ones who assisted the supervisor in making that happen. And I had the opportunity to work with you, and I want to tell you publicly, thank you, you and all your colleagues, for all you have done to save the lives of so many at the King Drew area. I know back in Washington when the President Reagan was shot, they say, well, if you want to get some top-of-the-line training, go be trained by the doctors at Martin Luther King Jr. Hospital. It was you guys who helped name it that way, and Julius Hill Center, and the list goes on. Hubert H. Humphrey Mental Health Hospital, even before the Drew Postgraduate Medical School. And since then, you were there. And so I just think my colleagues need to know that, the public need to know it as well, that you were like a pioneer. You were at the beginning, and you're there now, and we want to vote for your confirmation.
Thank you, Mr. Holden. Any other members wishing to speak? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Congratulations, Doctor, and thank you.
Thank you very much.
Let the record show this, the last vote that will be cast by Joel Wax as he leaves. Let's give Joel another hand. Good cause, Joel.
Next item, please.
Item number 41 is a commission appointment, Housing and Community Development, waive consideration of this matter to Maria de Engel to the Housing Authority of Los Angeles.
She comes forward. Don't have requests from members of the public to speak on this item, which will deem public hearing open and closed. Any members wishing to speak? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Just when you got here.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Next item, please.
Mr. President, item number 15 is a communication from the Board of Department of Water and Power and the resolution extending the temporary appointment of David Wiggs as General Manager, Department of Water and Power.
Public hearing has been held on this item, so unless there's a motion to reopen the public hearing requirement has been satisfied. The chair recognizes Ms. Galanter.
Hello? Hello? Am I on? Oh, there we go. Okay. Thank you, Mr. President. As you know, the Department of Water and Power has been operating without a permanent full-time general manager since Mr. Freeman, who's the real Jewish cowboy, left last spring. If there's ever any doubt, put them both in the same room and you'll find out. Mr. Wiggs, who was one of the people who had worked with us before Mr. Freeman was hired, has been brought back on an interim basis. He's been serving on an interim contract since last spring, and his original interim contract will end now, basically, this weekend. The committee has heard the mayor's request and the department's request for an extension of Mr. Wiggs' contract. We did ask for a status report on the selection of a permanent general manager, and I've also, of course, asked Mr. Wiggs whether he intends to be a candidate, and lest there be any suspense, yes, he does. The important point for us here today is that the mayor's office is engaged in one of those search processes where you hire a search firm and the search firm does its thing and presents a set of recommendations to the Board of Commissioners. And during that time, we still have to make sure that the water flows where it's supposed to and doesn't flow where it's not supposed to, that the lights go on, that we are taking care of all kinds of business at the Department of Water and Power. And so the committee unanimously voted to support the department's request for an extension of Mr. Wiggs' contract through the end of the year, with the understanding that by the end of the year, the commission and the mayor and the department will be ready to make a recommendation of a permanent appointment. So I ask your support of this contract extension.
Mr. Holden.
Mr. Wiggs, how long have you been with the department?
How long
capacity?
I started on May 1st.
May 1st. And where were you working before May 1st?
I was actually a consultant before May 1st, working for Dr. Cynthia Tejas' husband, Speaker Hertzberg in Sacramento for the time before that. And prior to that, I was chairman CEO of a investor-owned utility in Texas. And then prior to that, I was a regulatory attorney for about 15 years.
So you have a limited experience?
Yes.
Okay. But you are applying for this job?
I am.
Permanently?
Yes, sir.
Oh, you were appointed when Mayor Reardon was in place, is that correct?
That's correct.
And some people saying he's running for governor. And if you were to get this job and he should be elected, you know, Freeman went there with the other guy. Where's your commitment?
My commitment would be to this city and to this department. I have
for now.
So I have not spoken to former Mayor Reardon since he left, really. So all I know is what I read in the newspapers also about his running for governor.
That's not so good, what you read in the newspapers. But in any case, let me just say that, we had a big problem with that Mojave Desert plant being sold and the one in Montana. Anything else on the drawing board that you bought to sell, want to sell, or, energy-producing plants?
The Mojave plant was one of the issues that I was asked to address when I came on board. Last week, our commission approved a settlement proposal where the department would keep 50% of its ownership in Mojave and would sell the other 50% as a resolution with Salt River Project that had been scheduled to buy all of the department's power. We will bring you a proposal on that. It's gone bound through committee. We'll meet with the council members to discuss that. I can tell you it'll be my recommendation that we move forward on this proposal and at least keep half of the plant going forward.
So we own about 20% of the plant right
We
now,
own
is that correct?
20%.
All right, so we can keep the 20% for at least 2 years and not be required to sell any part of it. So will this action trigger at the end of the 2 years where we can maintain 20%, or are you suggesting that we make the deal now?
No, the settlement, and they certainly dispute the fact that we could keep this plant for any period of time past September based on the original agreement. This proposal would give us the opportunity to keep 50% or 10% of the plant, which is 150.
Why would it give us any part of it if we don't think we have a reason to keep it for 2 years?
Mr. Holden, I think this goes afield of what's been noticed on the agenda today. I know that
I'm
that
going to
item-
ask him, I got to find out what he knows about it. At least I'm going to be asked to vote for an extension.
that item will be before
If he
the
knows
council,
his
I
job,
understand,
this is
next
part of
week.
his job.
I understand, but I don't think we should be getting into the details of the
I
settlement.
didn't talk about a lawsuit. I just said I'm asking for some details. Is a public notice. The commission's already voted to settle whatever they're going to sell. It was not done in closed session over there. It was done in open session. So
It's not on our
so
today's agenda.
I'm in order. My question is, you do want me to vote for you, don't you? Yeah,
Yes.
Right. So you can answer the question. The fact of the matter is that the Mojave Desert plant was something that shouldn't have happened in the first place. That was public. We had a big discussion about that. And we don't want to give up any more of our energy-reducing plants at the risk of raising our rates, forcing us to comply with what the legislative action that they take with the ISO, and the list goes on. So it's noted that we should raise these issues, Madam City Attorney, and
Thank you, Mr. Holden.
that's why I'm so doing.
We're waiting for a response.
All right, so in any case, go ahead, you want to respond.
Well, as I understand the question, we are and did look at the entire situation at Mojave. The commitments have been made in the past, the legal positions, the financial conditions, the power we needed, and we have reached a settlement with Salt River Project that we have presented to our board, that was approved last week, that we will present to council here within the next 30 days.
Was that in closed session or open session?
Open, well, the discussion, because it was a lawsuit, was in closed session. The vote was in open session.
So it became a matter of public record, is that correct?
That we are moving forward with
Would
this
you so
proposal.
inform the city attorney?
Yes, city attorney
Thank you.
was involved.
Thank you. Mr. Weiss.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Wiggs, I'm going to vote for your extension, and I just want you to know how much I appreciated your coming to my office the other day to talk about the issues which are on my mind and which I know are front and center on your mind these days, issues relating to security, relating to protecting the water supply and protecting the sources of electricity in this city. And we're going to have a task force that's going forth to deal with these issues, and I know we're coming out to see you next week. I just want to tell you that I really appreciate the fact that you are so committed at this time to revisiting all of these issues, because I think, as we both discussed together, we can't be content with the sort of security measures that we thought in the past were appropriate, because the nature of the threat has changed, and I know you recognize that, and I look forward to, unfortunately, having to work with you on this issue in the coming weeks and months.
Thank you. Yes, sir. We do certainly believe this is a very high priority item for us and what we discussed with you, and we'll look forward to working with you in the city on the changes that need to be made on our emergency response and our security for our water and power. Thank you, Mr. Weiss.
Thank you, Mr. Weiss. Any other members wishing to speak? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Congratulations,
Thank you,
Mr. Wiggs.
Thank you.
Next item.
Is that forthwith?
Forthwith to the mayor on that.
Mr. President, back to the regular agenda in order. Items numbers 10 through 18, with the exception of 14 and 15 that have been acted on. There are amendments on items number 16 and 17 that have been circulated.
Technical amendments on 16 and 17?
There are amending motions.
Okay, items 10 through 18, colleagues, Public hearing has been held on these items, so unless there's a
With the
motion.
exception of item number 16, I believe a public hearing was not held in committee.
Okay. Item 16, and we do have cards on 16, so we'll call item 16 special. Any other specials? Colleagues, any other specials? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please open the roll on the balance of the items. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Those items are approved. Mr. Ridley Thomas.
Mr. President, this minor matter is a question of referral on 17. It's referred to public safety, and I simply request that it be referred also to ITGS. Thank you.
Mr. Clerk.
You just moved to approve 17 as amended.
Correct.
Okay.
Ridley Thomas is concerned about the implementation specifically of an element in 17, and that element relates to the personal machines, the devices that were going to be used to implement on the data collection, and I have no problem with having that referred to IDGS when that matter comes back.
We're all in agreement here? Mr. Clerk, next item, please.
Okay. Items numbers 23 through 39. 23 is an ordinance, as well as 36. I believe there's a card on item number 33.
We have cards in items 29 and 33. We'll call those special. Mr. Holden calls 31 special. Any other specials? Mr. Garcetti?
36.
33 is called special. We have cards on that.
36.
Mr. Holden calls 36 special. Any other specials? Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, please open the roll on the balance of the items. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Those items are approved.
Item number 23, the ordinance will be held over 1 week until October 5th. Item number 42 on the continuation agenda is an item requesting the city attorney and the city engineer to report pursuant to a council action last Wednesday.
Okay, we do have a card on item 42. Let's call that special.
Mr. President, that brings you back to item number 16, called special, inasmuch as there's members of the public who wish to speak and an amending motion on the file.
Okay, let's begin the public hearing. Let me advise the members of the public here to speak on this item. We have scheduled a 10-minute public hearing for this item. We have a number of requests to speak, so I'd ask each of you to keep your comments brief and please speak for approximately a minute to allow for adequate time for everybody. Council calls forward first Mr. Robert Vinson, to be followed by Tina Choi.
Good morning. My name is Robert Vinson. I'm a partner in the affordable housing firm of McKeel Vinson. I'm here to support Playa Vista's SIDLAC bond request to be used to enhance the quality of affordable housing units in the Fountain Park development. Davis-Bacon prevailing wage requirements were imposed by the City Council, and I very much applaud that action. However, Davis-Bacon prevailing wage requirements cannot be an unfunded public mandate. New affordable housing should be among the highest priorities of the city. Los Angeles will become home to a projected 6.7 million people by the year 2010, and for every 6 jobs created, only 1 housing unit will be built. Fountain Park would provide a family of 2 with an annual income of $21,000 with a 1-bedroom unit on the west side for $545. The market rate for that same unit would be $1,700. By allowing Playa Vista Fountain Park to apply for SIDLAC funds, they can pay prevailing wages without cutting quality or amenities. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vinson. Ms. Tina Choi, to be followed by Charlotte Austin Jordan.
Good afternoon, honorable council members, and thank you for the opportunity to speak before you today. My name is Tina Choi, and I'm Vice President of Public Affairs at Playa Vista. The issue before you today is a recommendation that helps this city respond to the critical need for affordable housing. SCAC projects that by year 2010, the LA region will experience a population growth of approximately 6.7 million more people. This equates to a housing demand of about 8,000 units per year. In LA, however, supply has only increased by 1,000 units per year. LA is facing a crisis in housing, and more specifically, affordable housing. But there is a solution, and Playa Vista is part of that solution. In phase 1 of our project, 15% of the units, which is about 500 units, will be dedicated to affordable housing. The matter before you today is a recommendation from the city's Department of Housing authorizing it to apply for CIDLAC bonds for one of our projects in phase 1, Fountain Park. This project includes a significant amount of affordable housing.
Ms. Choi.
Overall, as mentioned, 705 units, 375 of which are affordable. 53% of this project is dedicated to affordable housing.
Ms. Choi, if I could ask you to conclude, you also shared with us a lot of this information on Wednesday.
Thank you. I'll conclude. We have an opportunity to utilize the state housing bonds today to help our city in a affordable design that mixes affordable units with market rate units to show the diversity, the neighborhood diversity, something that the city should embrace. Do not be misled by our opponents. This is not a public subsidy. There's no fiscal impact to the general city fund, the city's general fund, and we incur the responsibility of full payback.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Charlotte Austin Jordan, whom I believe we heard from also on Wednesday. So I'd ask for you to keep your comments very brief, to be followed by Kathy Knight.
Good morning or afternoon. I just come before you this morning speaking on the bonds that Playa Vista is applying for. As I said before, I had to access that system, and it's very important. This project is something that should be requested of everyone that comes before you. An affordable housing project allowed me to take care of my children in the manner that they needed to be. I was a single mother trying to raise 5 children, 3 of my own plus additional. This project afforded me the ability to send my children. I have 3 children in college at this point, and myself returning to school because of a project such as this. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ms. Kathy Knight, to be followed by Marcia Hanscom.
Good morning, Council. My name is Kathy Knight. I work with Spirit of the Sage Council. I wanted to tell you that our attorney has said that today you're all personally liable on these bonds besides being liable as a city. And so we urge you to have a full Housing Committee hearing on these bonds. There's been no committee hearing on these bonds. And there's a lot of disclosures that are not being made to the CIDLAC Committee in Sacramento and to bond investors. We're entering into the record this document that has a lot of the disclosures that have not been made yet. Also, we want to call your attention to, we think there was something illegal done on June 26th when you released $33 million worth of bond money, investor bond money on this project, and it was based on approval of the CLA report by the mayor and you, the council. But however, when we looked at the action taken on the CLA report, you did not approve it. It was not approved. It was only noted and filed. Therefore, we believe that bond money was released based on misrepresentation. Even the LA Times and the public thought that it had been approved. The only approved environmental report on these bonds is an EIR from 1993 that says there is no gas on this project. You need to do an SCIR. Otherwise, you are not properly disclosing information that you could know if you wanted to know it.
Thank you.
I have more comments to make, and I'm sorry I was cut off because I feel they're very important. Thank you.
Okay, we have other members wishing to speak also. Marcia Hanscom, to be followed by Mike Stanley.
Point of order first. Is Mr. Holden here? Do we have a legally constituted quorum?
Mr. Holden? There he is.
Okay,
Yes, we do.
thank you. Honorable Council President, honorable council members, this is Joel Wax Day. And I hope you will consider the legacy he's left here as you think about this issue. It's too bad that he's not here to actually act on his conscience today and leave this city with a clear conscience. Because unfortunately, while he has consistently railed against public subsidies to corporate interests like this, he has unfortunately always voted for the Playa Vista subsidies. My name is Marcia Hanscom. I'm Executive Director of the Wetlands Action Network and Secretary of the Sierra Club Ballona Wetlands Task Force. Both of these organizations, as well as 107 other environmental and neighborhood groups in the coalition Citizens United to Save All of Ballona, are opposed to your approval of Playa Capital's application today. In fact, we were shocked to learn that after $135 million in Mello-Roos bonds, $73.6 million in tax-exempt housing bonds, and another $4 million in taxable bonds, the developers who are currently destroying habitat at the Ballona wetlands want yet another $9.56 million in tax-exempt bonds.
If I could ask you to conclude, please.
Now, I really hope you will have a full committee hearing on this. There are numerous points we have not been able to make. We tried to make them Wednesday. We were not able to have a full hearing. The developers have claimed that there is no subsidy in this. That's not true. The Citizens for Tax Justice in Washington, D.C. estimate a huge loss from state and federal treasuries. Their calculations show that the $73.6 million in housing bonds already granted to Playa Vista will cost the state of California and the federal government $55.8 million in lost income.
Thank you
All
very
of the
much.
money you're trying to get in Washington right now for relief for jobs in this city that have been lost because of the tragedy are not going to be prioritized. We need to look at our priorities. Do we give money to the corporate interests from Wall Street, or are we going to help our own interests here?
Okay. Mr. Mike Stanley, to be followed by Milton Vester.
Good morning, council members. Today, as we listen to the diverse presentations from members in our community, from firefighters to triathletes, we give a send-off to one of our council members. I see many different elements and people in our community. With all this, I ask myself, what is the common thread that we all share? The common thread that we all share as human beings, no matter what our differences are, no matter what religions or beliefs we have, is the environment. Right now, as we sit comfortably in downtown LA, a battle is going on 20 miles west in an area called Ballona Wetlands. And the last of 5% of these wetlands are rapidly being destroyed. Species of fish, birds are being eliminated, grasslands are being turned into toxic runoff basins. Now, even if you don't believe me and you think I'm an environmentalist wacko, that's fine. But let the issue come to you. When tons more pollution comes into the air, when the 405 is shut down with 20% more traffic than it is right now, I urge you please not to extend these tax-free loans to the developers. You have the power. Read the LA Times article when it talks about turning that area into a park. Taxpayer money, we'll be paying a lot of taxpayer money when we try to do a toxic cleanup. I'm not supported by $800 million in lobbyists. I took the day off here to talk about this important issue. So please listen to us. We're very emotional about this, and the environment has no one to speak for.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Milton Vester, to be followed by A. Gordon Nelson.
Hi, I'm Milton Vester of Mar Vista. How many council members are actually here and can hear me or listening to me? Because I don't like talking to myself.
So the opportunity you are afforded is to be on the public record, to have it documented, and it will be submitted as a part of the file. We encourage you to proceed.
I have a question I want to answer. I want an answer to.
State your question, sir.
Well, the question is, how many of you have ever received campaign contributions or other material considerations from Playa Vista, Playa Capital, or the developer involved in this project?
Thank you very much. Is that the extent
kind of a moot question when nobody's here to answer it, isn't it?
Your question is stated as a matter of public record. That is what you are afforded. Is there the balance of time you wish to use with other questions or comments, sir?
Okay. Well, I just want to say that if you've ever received any kind of consideration from Playa Vista, you ought to recuse yourself from voting on this request for additional bond money. If not, I trust you will be carefully consider the issue and vote without undue influence.
All right.
We also respectfully request that Councilmember Hahn, who is not here today, unfortunately, recuse herself from voting because she has known ties to Lisa Speck, a Playa Capital employee who was heavily involved in her brother's campaign for mayor. I further implore, in the interest of fairness, that Councilmember Galanter also recuse herself due to her strong ties to this development, which are a matter of public record. Will you please do so?
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
You can,
Madam City Attorney, there were a couple of questions that were raised, and it would seem to me it's important for the record to indicate whether it is in your judgment that anyone who would vote on this matter ought to be, or that is obliged by law to recuse him or herself.
I don't believe there's any reason for the members who were indicated today to recuse themselves.
All right. Next speaker, please. A. Gordon Nelson, followed by Dan Cohen. Mr. Cohen will be followed by Patricia McPherson. Sir.
Members, living in Southern California for 72 years, I've pretty well seen the paradise lost. Unfortunately, excuse me, Santa Monica Mountains became a national park, and I think that the Bologna wetlands should be preserved in conjunction with the national park, and that's about all I have to say.
Thank you so much. Next speaker, please.
I was a resident of Marina del Rey. I live next to the Playa Vista project. I now have chemical sensitivities. The only way I can return to Marina del Rey to use my sailboat is to wear a gas mask. I have one that now filters out the BTEX gases that were flowing into my body, but I'm busy looking for filters to add on so that I can filter out the H2S. I'm tired of having my sinuses burn. Are you guys really going to give money to a developer who hasn't been able to get his traffic mitigation through? The California PUC is going to put down monitoring wells in this project and see the gas bubbling up out of the ground. They are going to do a health risk assessment, and the state and federal EPA, as well as the PUC, are going to come in here and expose you for what you are, nothing more than a bunch of terrorists that are terrorizing us on the west side and poisoning us by putting a development on top of a known gas seep. The plants are dead all over the wetlands from the gas bubbling up. The people, half the people that come to this area smell toxic gas. My neighbors, half of which were in my apartment building, are sick. I'm going to file suit against the gas company. I'm going to file suit against these people and collect my damages for my injuries and to that of my friends and neighbors in the area who are being injured. Small children being affected. They're being made ill. Their parents have their immune system failing. Their hair's falling out. Their sinuses are burned out. These people are ill. My friends are dying. And you people are nothing more than terrorists that are funding these people to put yet more people in an area where they are going to die and they are going to get sick. And if you don't believe this is true, you just follow these state and federal investigations because they're going to be following you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Members of the council, we've exceeded the time that was allotted for this public hearing.
Excuse me, I was here last week, or the other day at the hearing, and I wasn't allowed to speak. I wasn't allowed to speak when I came here, and now I'm here today.
Ma'am, if you just
several hours.
be kind enough to hold on 1 second, we'll attempt to accommodate you. Members of the council, your pleasure. Do I hear a motion to extend the hearing by any specific amount of time? Mr. Reyes?
Move that we provide another 3 minutes.
All right. Is there a second to that motion?
Yes, second.
Ms. McPherson, is that correct?
I'm sorry, I was looking at my documents trying to be speedy when I got to speak. What was asked?
Your name.
My name is Patricia McPherson. I'm
Please
president.
proceed.
My name is Patricia McPherson. I'm president of Grassroots Coalition. I don't think any of these monies should be allotted until these issues are resolved. We have a Prop 65 situation. I think all of you can see this somewhat. It's in ETI's report to the city. This is toluene. It's a Prop 65 chemical. It causes birth defects. This is surfacing all across the property where it was even tested for in areas actually that were surcharged.
Sergeant, the speaker has the right to be heard without being disrupted. Please ensure that. Ms. McPherson, if you would proceed, we'd appreciate it.
This is a Prop 65 chemical. It has been mapped. The city has this document. There has been no warning by the city, by the developers, or by SoCal Gas to warn for Prop 65. That could be a $2,500 a day offense for not warning the people at the site. For you to approve this, just as a for instance, someone called me and said, should I even be here today? Will anyone show up? Will we be able to speak? The answer was, how do I know? I was asked, what about the SIDLAC money? Is the city responsible? Bob Kinsimonian, during the first allotments of these funds, said we are not responsible for disclosure with regard to these bonds. I asked the SIDLAC committee, and they stated they were not responsible for these bonds. So this irate man on the phone asks me, well, who the hell is responsible for this? And my response was, now you're learning. This passing the buck of responsibility, the lack of accountability by this city council. Ruth Galander does not represent the community. She has not been there to answer any of these questions. I dare say the woman can't even converse regarding the subject matter. But unfortunately, I'm afraid none of you can either. And that's all we've asked you for, is to be able to go through this data with you. And none of you have called us to go over this data. We are going ahead with other CPUC investigations, federal and state investigations regarding this. We would like to have you be alongside us in this investigation. This is a very dangerous regional situation, and we have the data to back it up. This is not something that should ever be taken lightly. We have people getting sick, and Dan says this is terrorism. Yes, this is very insidious terrorism on your part for abdicating democracy, for not taking care of the people that are getting sick out there, and maybe they're not getting sick from this, but don't they deserve the right of you people to help us look into this situation? I certainly have federal EPA and state EPA abiding by the things that I've given them and looking for more things. What is wrong with this city? Why are you turning your backs on this? Why are you avoiding this? And the CLA report was not approved. Therefore, no development should be taking place on this site. There is no approval.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. All right, there are 8 others who wish to be heard. Mr. Reyes, you made a motion to extend the hearing for 3 minutes. Mr. Garcetti, you seconded it. The pleasure of the council needs to be made known to the chair at this time. I see no further motion to extend the public hearing. We've gone approximately 15 minutes, which was in addition to what we did afford. It should be said for the record that the persons who were here on this past Wednesday, I believe, to be heard in committee were not afforded that opportunity. We did then afford them the opportunity to be heard on public comment or during public comment. We took it up special for that purpose. So the point to be made is that a couple of opportunities were in fact afforded. The committee did not take action. It is brought to you without recommendation, and it is before us at this time. The chair now recognizes Mr. Garcetti, the first speaker, followed by Mr. Zine.
Thank you, Mr. Ridley-Thomas. To those that are still waiting, are there folks that haven't been able to speak either today or on Wednesday that are still waiting to speak?
And who,
Okay.
Your name?
Maybe what we can do is one speaker on both sides more, just in the interest of time, okay?
On your time, sir?
That's my motion.
On your time.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Sir? Name for the record.
Quincy.
I have your card, Quincy. Please proceed.
Yeah, first of all, if anyone recalls a couple of weeks
Are you
ago.
speaking for or against the item?
I'm speaking against the hysteria that's being promoted by the rest of these people.
I see. Proceed.
If you saw a couple, 3 weeks ago in the Times on Monday in the Inside Politics column of Pat Morrison, she, for the first time, used the phrase that's proper for this, for the Belmont Learning Center, that it's the all but completed Belmont Learning Center. There's been a whole campaign of hysteria promoted by the mayor, the previous mayor, based on two buzz phrases, exploding methane gas and toxic hydrogen sulfide, the latter of which is like the stink they put in the natural gas, which they took the stink out of. So if you smell it, because it becomes only acutely toxic at 1,000 times the level at which one smells rotten eggs. Now, the problem is the very next day they had a big op-ed by a former Belmont commissioner using the Playa del Rey project as a shill in total hysterical fashion to basically rescind what they'd said about what they barely bleeped in the previous day.
Quincy, I'm going to ask you to conclude. I'm going to ask you to conclude.
Yeah, well, okay. My conclusion is most of these things we're talking about are totally organic, okay? Oil is organic. If you know about the Redondo Seep between Redondo Beach and Catalina, oil comes out of the ground naturally. So these things are widespread throughout the basin, as the testimony of O'Malvaney and Myers will show, has shown abundantly.
We thank you for your testimony. Sir?
Excuse me. Yes, my name is Sasha Karlik. I work with the Biona Ecosystem Education Project, and I discourage the funding of the Playa Vista project. I ask that you have a full committee hearing, and there are just too many issues that need to be addressed. And there's just not enough time here today to go through all of it.
All right.
$9.5 million to bail out a corporation that is worth, Goldman Sachs is worth $500 billion, or as you know, Morgan Stanley and Goldman Sachs worth, in excess of $500 billion. We need to subsidize this kind of interest with our common
Sir, your
reserves.
Your point is made. There are several other persons, and I'm trying my best to accommodate them. My assumption is that they share your view.
Okay. And on the issue of affordable housing, why is it only that a project such as this is designed to provide 15% affordable housing? Why not 85% affordable housing and 15% luxury? I don't understand. So we're subsidizing luxury to multi-billion-dollar corporations. And furthermore, I'll conclude. Furthermore, Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley are implicated in money laundering of illegal drug money from the importation and sale of illegal drugs and the trafficking of illegal drugs around the world. Okay? That's money that is floating Wall Street, that is laundered through Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs.
Thank you for your testimony.
Thank you very much.
I'll be brief. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name's Alfred. I want to thank you.
Aarons?
Yes, Arian.
Yes, okay.
Yes. I just want to thank you for this opportunity. I speak on behalf of the Playa Vista project. I'm an active member of the Southern California Health and Housing Council. An organization is working on projects to ensure affordable, safe, healthy housing of all Los Angeles. I just want to let the people know we're the most tax-paying people in the world. I think it's time that we give back to the people, and that is affordable housing. An income of $20,000 or more, you have to have 3-4 people pay that rent per month, and it's pretty outrageous. We need more affordable housing. The tragedy that happened in New York City has just devastated our country, and this is just the beginning of a recession that is about to happen. This is my opinion. I believe that due to this tragedy, we have a lot of unemployed workers right now that are struggling, wondering where they're going to live, where they're going to get their food. And I just hope that you would think about this project. It is in need. We need more all around the world because times are hard. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We ask you to speak crisply if you can.
Good afternoon, council members. My name is Charles Duncan, and I'm currently a resident in Hollywood. As someone who falls into the low-income category, I've always been on the lookout for quality, affordable housing. My current apartment building is built decades ago and is literally falling apart, but that's all I can afford. I'm very excited about the prospect of living at Playa Vista. From what I understand from the people at Playa Vista, I could move into a brand new unit in a beautiful planned community where I'd pay less rent than I do today. I'd be close to the beach, I'd be near many other artists and photographers, and best of all, I'd be able to make ends meet. I can't tell you what a wonderful opportunity this would be for me. There's very little affordable housing available to me and others like me who work very hard but still don't make a great deal of money. What is available is generally run down and located in the worst part of town.
All right.
Playa Vista will be a great place to live, and with your help, I look forward to moving into a brand new apartment that I could afford. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Remind me of your name, please.
Charles Duncan.
Okay, thank you. Sir, here you are, Conrad.
My name is Anthony Rosado. I'm a resident of Westchester and Playa del Rey since 1956. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, and for the past 20 years have worked with the chronically mentally ill on the West Side. For the past several years, I have been specializing in community reintegration of the homeless and the forensic mentally ill. The one thing that stands in the way of successful community reintegration on the West Side is the lack of affordable housing. When I was told that 375 units of affordable housing that would house over 800 people were being built on my way from home to work, I asked if I could get my nail belt and my framing hammer and come on down and help. This is needed. This is needed to address homelessness in our community, and I fully support this project, and I ask that you support it as well. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next and final speaker, please.
Good morning. My name is Juan Torres. I am a resident of Councilman Reyes District. I have been at risk, but PB Jobs have saved me. They have given me a union-paying job. Even though I have a union-paying job, I am still one of those people who are eligible for affordable housing at Playa Vista. I want you to know that a huge difference this housing will make for me and my family and others like me. A two-bedroom apartment at Playa Vista will cost only $613 per month. A very low-income family of 3 and only $981 per month for a low-income family of 3. This same apartment would normally cost $2,200 a month or more. Unlike some other developments, Playa Vista is using the comparable units for its market rate and affordable housing. If I am lucky enough to get one of these apartments, it will be a comfort to know that they were built to the same standards as once everyone else is living in. I'm really lucky. Not only has PB Jobs helped me get a new job, but Playa Vista will give me an opportunity to live in an affordable home. For me and my family, this is a great news. Please help Playa Vista build this affordable housing so that my family and others have a chance to live in a beautiful home. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Members of the council, that closes the public comment portion. Once again, Mr. Zine wishes to be heard. You withdrew, Mr. Zine? All right, Mr. Garcetti.
Thank you, Mr. President. And thank you, Council, for your patience. Part of the reason why it was necessary to be able to hear everybody today is there were people who weren't able to speak on Wednesday. We did move on a motion from Mr. Wax the committee hearings into the public arena here during public comment, and because that wasn't afforded, I hope that we've been able to hear the necessary opinions today. This is an easy one to sit down on and not to speak out, and I imagine I'll probably be the only person who speaks today on this. I think to answer some of the direct questions that have been asked, I've received some donations from folks who are activists seeking to make sure that Playa Vista is not built, and I've gotten some donations from companies that have interest in Playa Vista as well. And I feel an obligation to neither of them to just do what they say. I have an obligation to represent the people, to listen to arguments, and to try to deliberate. And I'm sure it's been one of the great frustrations to my colleague, Councilmember Galanter, that I haven't, that I was the only council member not to vote in favor of when the Mello-Roos bonds came, and I'm sure that's frustrating to some of my friends who are involved in the building of this project, and was something that friends on the other side were glad to hear. But today I stand and I have to tell you what my conscience says on this, which is that I do strongly support this. I do think that these funds will go somewhere in the state. They will not come to Los Angeles, and I have an obligation in terms of affordable housing. And this is an ideal affordable housing. Why can't it be 85%? Because we can't do that with the private sector. 15% is actually quite good. And this component in Fountain Park is the overwhelming majority of the affordable housing. And as such, we need it. We need it badly. Now, there are not perfect pictures in which we can always have the maximum amount of land. I think there are people who play out those roles in advocating for the maximum amount or the minimum amount. But what we have to do is have an obligation to balance things. And for me, environmental concerns as well as some of the others, it is my responsibility as an elected official now, after the retirement of Mr. Wax as the acting chair of the Housing Committee, to make sure that we deal with affordable housing. And this component does just that. And today we are just simply saying they can apply for these. The taxpayers, if you want to look at this as losing money, have already lost it. But it's not losing it, because these are, I think that's a misrepresentation. This is going out in this state, and all California taxpayers are, quote, paying for it. This simply allows this project to, which, by the way, is in perpetuity. And a lot of the projects that come before us for housing say 30 years they're going to be affordable, and then they're no longer affordable 30 years from now. This is in perpetuity, that these will be affordable units that we're voting on today. And because of that, my conscience strongly says that we should support this. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very kindly, Mr. Garcetti. I see no other member of the council wishing to be heard at this point. Mr. Clerk, what is before us?
You do have an amended motion that has been distributed by Mr. Wax and Mr. Garcetti.
Chair recognizes Mr. Holden.
Mr. President, members, once again, I have mixed feelings about the project. And at the very beginning, as you probably know, the vote was 14-1 no. And is continued 14-1 no. And I thought for good reasons. First of all, it was the Indian burial ground, and the Indians were here saying that it should not happen, it's sacred. That was one of the reasons. Other reasons, that the soil was contaminated, gaseous-like substance emanating from the soil. And I was aware of that. For those of you who were not here at the time, but I worked at that site from 1970 to 1979. And the way we got our Christmas turkeys every year is that they pumped the oil from the ground there, so they were oil derricks, and then they would buy us all turkeys with some of the profit. And so it's still there, like over by Fairfax and Wilshire Boulevard, when you had that problem, methane gas and so on. So it's there. And it was necessary because Ms. Goldberg and I called to have a study done to decide what the content of gas is being submerged in that area, and how could they mitigate it. At one point, they were voting for this project even though there was gas in the area. So they come up with some new technique that each house, they'd have some kind of spectrometer and some other kind of device that will go off if the gas would be admitted into your unit after you bought the unit. Before you die, you know, the buzzer should go off, except if it malfunctions, then you'll be gone and you won't know that it malfunctioned because you'll be gone. Problems. But you know, sometimes John Ferraro used to say to me that Nate, the train is come and gone. And no matter what my position has been, it's been rolling over me on this project. The fact of the matter is that I don't know what's cost effective. Sure, we need affordable housing, but we should be indemnified. And I'm going to ask the city attorney, I brought this issue up once before, that we as a city cannot be sued or should not be sued if something goes wrong with respect to this project. Would you want to comment?
I think the time you asked me last time, I mentioned to you that I don't think there's any way we can shield ourselves, that we're always sued by.
Well, you think what are our chances of prevailing in court under these circumstances? Now we've been given notice that this could be a problem.
This is merely an application for the bonds, and the other issues are environmental items that should be going through the process. There are attorneys from the housing
They're still
section
working on
here.
it, is that correct?
That's right.
Well, I sure wish they'd hurry up and get to the table so we can know how we can vote with a clear conscience.
All right, thank you, Mr. Holden. No other member wishing to be heard. Mr. Garcetti, you wish to weigh in again?
Very briefly, there's a substitute motion. I've been told that
Substitute or amending?
Amending, sorry, 16A. Thank you for the correction.
But actually, it's a substitute motion.
Sorry?
Actually, a substitute motion, in as much as the Housing Committee submitted without recommendation.
Thank you for the double correction.
Thank you.
The correction of the correction.
Yes.
It's a technical thing that Councilmember Wax has introduced, but since he's no longer here with us today, it merely sets the date for the required hearing, the TEFRA hearing on this as October 2nd in City Hall in room 1010 at, I believe it's going to be 10 a.m. Is that correct? Yeah, 10 a.m.
All right, the substitute motion is before us. Is that not correct, Mr. Clerk?
That's correct.
All right, please open the roll on the substitute. Close the roll. Now tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Does that adequately dispose of the matter, or is there another vote required?
Do you wish to go that forthwith?
Forthwith has been requested. It is so ordered without objection. Next item is before us.
Item number 29. There is a member of the public who wishes to speak.
All right. The one and only Quincy.
Thank you. Council, I don't feel the need to wear a flag T-shirt because actually, when you fly a flag, you're supposed to fold it up before sunset. On the other hand, I'm very well aware of this whole thing, and I want people to check out some alternative viewpoints on the whole terror thing and security thing, and that's at my website, quincy4board.homestead.com. That's for school board. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Closes the public comment. Mr. Zine, your button has been pushed. You are to speak.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and colleagues. Driving around our city, we'll find nearly every fire vehicle flying the American flag, a number of city vehicles, including police vehicles, flying the American flag. And I thought it'd be appropriate, since we've encouraged the general public to fly flags on vehicles along with the President of our country, and many of our city employees are doing this at their expense, to fly a flag from the antenna, whether it be fire, police, public works, etc. I thought it'd be appropriate that we would take a position to show patriotism and support, that we would open it up, not that we're buying flags, but that we're encouraging them and supporting that motion, as many of my colleagues have American flags on the city cars that were issued, or the personal cars that they drive. So that's what it's all about. So I would encourage a vote to support this.
Thank you. Next speaker is Mrs. Galanter.
Hello. Okay. I'm certainly going to support this motion, and in fact, I think, Mr. Zine, it's very appropriate that you brought in a motion, because as I recall, it's actually illegal to put, it's a violation of city rules at least, to put anything on a city car unless there is a specific council directive. I know we went through this a number of years ago when I brought in the motion. A group came to me offering us the stickers that you see on all the city cars that say there's no excuse for domestic violence. And we actually had to have a council motion in order to authorize the sticking of those bumper stickers on city vehicles. So obviously people have, no one's really going to go after anybody for putting an American flag on an American city's car. But on the other hand, I think it is good to make clear that we are specifically authorizing this. So I certainly support the motion.
All right. No one else wishing to be heard. Mr. Zine for a second time.
Mr. Chair and colleagues, another item that we approved in public safety just a few days ago was to add another bumper sticker to city vehicles, which would be for police recruitment. So they've got a DARE sticker, domestic violence, elder abuse, and now there'll be a bumper sticker, which is approved. There'll be 4 bumper stickers on city vehicles promoting recruitment for the LAPD. So I figured, along with all that, it'd be very appropriate to put an American flag on the cars and trucks, etc.
All righty. We're going to have to evaluate the weight of the vehicles soon. Go right ahead, Mr.
Yeah, I was going to say we could open it up to Adshel and Infinity Ducode a bid on these. Give street furniture a whole new name. I just wanted to say that it was nice to see, and I know Council President Padilla was in the same car with me as we trailed behind you. Not only did Councilmember Zine have a flag out of his car, he was holding it with one hand while driving with the other, and it made me proud to be an American, and it's not safe.
Where's a good motorcycle cop when you need him, I tell you. Any other member wishing to be heard at this point? Mr. Clerk.
Item 29 is before you.
Please open the roll. Would you now close the roll? Tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Let the record reflect that Mr. Zine has a unanimous vote in this connection. Next item, please.
Item number 31, called special by Councilmember Holden.
If you would hold, the chair recognizes Mr. Weiss.
Appreciate it, Mr. President. I wanted to, on behalf of Mr. Wax, move to reconsider the vote on item 30. There was a motion that was supposed to be pending at the desk that was not incorporated into item 30 before we took our vote. So I'd move to reconsider it to open that so we could vote on the entire measure.
Without objection, it's now before us, Mr. Clerk, if that's consistent with our procedures.
That's correct.
All right. Item number 30.
Would be as amended.
As amended. You might remind the members of what item number 30 is, Mr. Clerk.
Item number 30 is a Wax-Weiss motion, subject to approval on the mayor to accept real property donation in Council District 2.
It is now reconsidered. It is before us. If there's no one wishing to be heard, would you please open the roll, Mr. Clerk? Now close the roll and then tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Mr. Chair, I'd just like to explain that the motion, I think, was to thank Mr. Steve Buntich for his donation of this property.
All right. Thanks for the clarification, the additional clarification. Members, the representative of the 13th Council District, the esteemed Eric Garcetti, makes a request that we take Special 1 out of order. Is there any objection? Hearing none, it is now before us. Mr. Clerk, Madam City Attorney, on Special 1.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a motion to close Hollywood Boulevard in the evenings due to the problem of putting a crane in there to finish up the work. This would have been done during the day, however, the Police Commission just recently determined that the night permit request was, they turned it down. So this is actually to close it during 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday through Friday for just 2 weeks.
All right, on the findings, Mr. Clerk, open the roll on the findings.
No, I didn't have this.
Now close the roll, tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
The item is before us. Mr. Garcetti.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members of the council, colleagues, this special item will allow the new home of the Academy Awards and the project around it, Trizicon, Hollywood and Highland, to open on time. And I would urge its passage. We're doing everything we can to make sure that this is done with the utmost sensitivity to the neighborhood around it. Of course, that's a concern of mine, and we're going to continue to be working on this, but appreciate you allowing us to bring this in special since we just found out about this, and we want to make sure we can hit that deadline and the invitation that I extended to all of you to join us to look at the new development. I hope you can be there, so thank you.
Indeed. Those who were on an earlier item, Mr. Garcetti, for which you voted in support in one instance and against in another instance, they think you're special. So that's why this is Special 1 today. All right, next item. Anyone else wishing to be heard in this regard? It's before us. Mr. Clerk, open the roll. Close the roll. Would you please tabulate the vote?
10 ayes.
Forthwith on this item as requested by Mr. Garcetti. Next item is before us.
Item number 31, called special by Councilmember Holden.
Mr. Holden, on item number 31.
Mr. President, members, the item number 31 is a motion addressing the location of site at La Brea and Rodeo Road,
Yes, sir.
where they have the storage of these, it's out of use. It's not properly used for that misuse of the site as it relates to the construction project. And I refer to the construction project in the motion as North Outfall Sewer East Central Interceptor Sewer Project. And that's not correct, Mr. President. I want to amend that out, and instead, the project is the Hollywood Main Replacement Sewer in lieu of that which, and that then it would be a properly addressed issue.
All right.
And that's the simple amendment, Mr. President.
Thank you. Mr. Holden has risen to amend the item that's before us. I see no reason for any further discussion on that unless someone else wishes to be heard at this point. Mr. Clerk, please open the roll.
As amended.
Sir? Mr. Clerk?
Yes. Mr. Holden moved as amended to Hollywood Main Replacement Sewer.
Correct. It is before us then. Please open the roll. Close the roll. Now tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Thank you very much. Next item.
Item number 33 is called special inasmuch as a member of the public who wishes to speak.
All right. Mr. Jim McQuiston.
Good afternoon, Mr. Acting President and members of the City Council. I'm Jim McQuiston from the East Hollywood Community Association. This particular motion has to do with material exactly in our area, and we support the motion. We do want to say, though, that if you drive by this Palomar Hotel or Palomar apartment house, it looks very nice on the outside, and yet, of course, we all know the loss of life within it. We have a specific plan just east of that, and it's within this 1 mile radius called SNAP. The SNAP people, over my strenuous objections as a professional engineer, decided that we didn't need any fire access, so we didn't need any side yards. Now, this Palomar apartment, if it had had a side yard, we probably wouldn't have lost any lives. So I do want to make the point that we may be moving a little bit too fast trying to densify our area and forgetting about fire safety. The planners said that, well, that's up to the fire department. They'll have to catch it when they try to apply for a building permit. I don't think that's quite good enough. I think we really have to look at these a little bit more closely. But we do support this. We're very thankful for Mr. Garcetti for putting in this particular motion.
Thank you for your testimony. Members of the council, anyone wishing to be heard? I see no one. Mr. Clerk.
Sir? I'd actually make the motion to receive and file this right now. The area that we cast originally is a bit too extensive for the capability right now of the department, so we've negotiated something internally that doesn't require council action for a small area, so I'd ask to receive and file this.
All righty. Mr. Zine, do you still wish to be heard? No. Mr. Zine passes. Mr. Garcetti moves that we receive and file this action. Mr. Clerk, please open the roll on the item. Close the roll. Please tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Thank you very kindly. Next item.
That matter was received and filed. Item number 36, called special by Councilmember Holden.
Mr. Holden, item number 36 is before us. The honorable member of the 10th District, item number 36 is before us.
Mr. President, members, item number 36, Mr. Weiss, you put this in to add the Executive Director of Los Angeles World Airport, Airport and Ports of Los Angeles to the Emergency Operation Board. I would think you should consider, and I'm not saying that this to be the case, or that designee How strong do you feel about that? If in case they're, you know.
Sir.
Why don't we defer to Mr. Canfield here?
Right, yeah. Whatever you say.
Address that.
If I may, this is Bob Canfield with the Emergency Preparedness Department and the Executive Assistant to the Emergency Operations Board. The City Attorney's Office has previously opined that board members cannot send designees. In order to have a quorum and in order to vote at Emergency Operations Board meetings, it must be the general manager, the chief of police, the fire chief. This was based on the concern of the public meeting laws of the state and the high level of authority that the board has.
When the chief was absent just recently, the deputy, assistant chief sat in, deputy chief.
The requirement, sir, is that if the chief or any other general manager is absent from the city, there is a designated acting general manager. In that case, the acting is able to attend and vote. But if the chief is busy with another meeting and wants to send a deputy chief, that person cannot vote.
He held the discussions. I sat there and watched them.
But they can't be a member of the board.
Okay, all right, whatever. City attorney's already spoken.
All right.
And the ordinance that we're amending is very specific and names just the members, just the general managers. And that's why I've included just the general managers.
All right. Mr. Weiss.
You sold? Move it.
All right. It's been properly moved and sold. Please open the roll on the item, Mr. Clerk.
One moment, there's a question of if there's a quorum present. Mr. President, you have lost a quorum.
All right.
Ms. Calander, I understand, is expected back within moments.
All right. In light of that, we will patiently await her return. I think she just excused herself for a moment. I don't know that there's any reason for. Members of the council, it's our recommendation of the city attorney that it is our option, if we should choose to exercise it, to move toward adjournment. What is your pleasure? Is there such a motion? Is there no time-sensitive matter that we are obliged to deal with at this moment, Mr. Clerk?
You have two items before you, item number 36 and 42. 42 is a report from the city engineer and city attorney regarding a motion that was passed on last Wednesday by Mr. Holden. I don't believe they're time sensitive.
All righty. Then if we have no pressing business, I take note of a motion from Ms. Perry to move to adjournment. Is there a second? All right, Mr. Clerk, we've effectively gotten consensus without debate in that regard. What then is before us?
You are adjourned.
Thank you, sir. Is it in order then to take the adjourning motions?
If the president wishes to, you may.
I think it's appropriate to do at least that. Are there any adjourning motions? The member of the 10th District, Mr. Holden.
Mr. President, members, Edith Frazier Busby, she passed away September 16th. She's a retired school teacher and a longtime 10th District resident was active in many civic and social organizations. She's survived by 3 children and many relatives and friends. We ask that we adjourn in her memory. Mr. President, members, I was also told that there was a great fighter, featherweight. His name is Sandy Sadler, who passed away the past week or so, and I'll get to the details. But 3 great fights, perhaps none better. Sandy Sadler and Willie Pep. And so Sandy Sadler was passed away, and always be remembered by those who were involved in boxing during the time that he was a champ. And he was a champ then, a champ now in my sight, because he's helped so many youngsters along the way. So we ask that we adjourn his memory as well.
I'd like to second that, please. Others who wish to be heard by way of adjourning motion. Mr. Zine.
Adjourn in memory of David Grant, 84 years old. He was a Spruce Goose co-pilot. 30 years old, he was a hydraulic engineer with no pilot's license in 1947 when he co-piloted Howard Hughes' Spruce Goose. When he was 63, still creating hydraulic systems for Hughes Aviation. In 1980, when the 200-ton aircraft emerged from the hangar where Hughes had secured it 3 decades earlier. The flying boat went on to display in 1982 under a dome inside the Queen Mary at Long Beach Harbor. And when he was 78, when the historic plane was dismantled, shrink-wrapped, and shipped off to Oregon for a permanent exhibition, David Grant, who once said, "If there is anything close to my heart, it is that airplane," and he passed away Thursday. David is a longtime resident of the San Fernando Valley, survived by his wife of 61 years, Ruth, a daughter, Diane, a son, James, sister, Florence, and 5 grandchildren.
Well, thank you very much. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll. Well, thank you. We are now adjourned, and we wish you all a very good weekend.